Mine's already open, so I'm gonna make it for effect.
There you go. Dude, dude, I don't even know what the hell to say right now. What did we just fucking watch?
I
What
can
the
honestly
hell,
say,
man?
I can honestly say, Nick, it definitely left me standing, and I was very delivered with a lot of great wrestling over the past 48 hours. And I can honestly
NXT
say, WrestleMania
Takeover
weekend,
delivered. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's just everything was just so wonderful. Like, I'm not gonna lie, watching this, like, I feel like I don't even need to watch WrestleMania this weekend, but I'm only watching it this weekend only because we get to see a live crowd in attendance.
Yeah,
But I can honestly say, with this being the last NXT on Wednesday night, and then seeing an amazing showcase that we witnessed with like a bunch of matches today, I can honestly say it's a time to be an NXT fan, and I am definitely happy to see what we have witnessed.
absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And how do I start next? What is up, everybody? Furious Nation YouTube channel right here on youtube.com. This is the review video for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver nights 1 and 2, in which TakeOver both nights stood and delivered. This is the Furious Nation YouTube channel. This is the breakdown for NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver night 1 and 2. I'm Nick Fiore. And as you can see, folks, this man making his debut, this good friend of mine, making his debut right here in the Furious Nation channel on YouTube. He is actually part of the CNE podcast with Cameron Johnson. Highly recommend checking them out. Really, really good stuff over there. I've been on their channel for a Raw review. I've been on their channel as well for breaking down certain WrestleManias of what the original plans were and how we would book each specific WrestleMania, etc. How we would have booked a certain WrestleMania and all. And this man, this very good friend of mine, makes his debut on the Furious Nation YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Escobar. It is a great pleasure to have you here on the channel for the very first time. What is up, brother? And my God, do you think TakeOver tonight maybe the best takeover of the year, maybe the top 3 best takeover next to Takeover New York and New Orleans? What's your opinion?
In my personal opinion, before I begin, I just want to say, Nick, thank you again for having me on the show. Huge blessing. It's great to do some counter work. We're going to be working well together. Like I said, I am also part of the CNE podcast with Cameron Johnson. We are the heart and soul of the IWC. Nick has also been on our show before. We talked about Raw reviews, and there's been multiple plans about us discussing how we would book certain WrestleMania events. And ladies and gentlemen, what a time to be alive in the world of professional wrestling, sports entertainment, however you want to say. Man, in the words of my manager, Alicia, we've been busy, busy, have we? We've been busy, busy. But in
I mean, it's
regards to NXT
WrestleMania week, you
TakeOver,
know?
oh, you got that right, man. But in regards to NXT TakeOver, I can honestly say has to be in at least the top three. I was blown away by almost a good portion of each match. Matches such as Kushida versus Pete Dunne, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa, the unsanctioned match we literally just finished watching. I was
Two guys
definitely
legit
blown
killing
away.
themselves.
Pretty much. And the thing is that I like too is like when I started watching the match, I'm like, man, they're not really using enough weapons because me getting used to watching AEW and watching a lot of old school wrestling with that, I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I think about what Jim Ross says. They're in here with a canvas and they're painting us a picture with their skills of wrestling. And I'm like, you know what? Just seeing how far they came, it was just wonderful. And I can honestly say I wouldn't recommend this actually having a 2 night NXT event, but you know what? The fact that this was executed on paper, executed in performance, and definitely delivered, I can honestly say NXT is definitely going to be worth watching on Tuesday nights now when it's on the USA Network.
I truly think 2021 is truly going to be NXT's year. I think because
Really?
2020 NXT was not good. It was not the same. I think this year's they're bouncing back and they're coming back.
I agree with you on that
I'm I'm,
personally.
I'm
Just
honestly very pumped up and excited for NXT on Tuesday, starting this April 13th. I am very excited. I'm very excited for them, and I'm excited for the future for them. I expect very good things for them for this year and so forth. I think this, especially this year, I think is their bounce back year after a terrible 2020.
I agree. There was a lot
When
of
you had main
minor.
roster influence on NXT in 2020, when Raw and SmackDown were in Orlando at the Performance Center, now Raw and SmackDown are in Tampa.
It's just crazy, but I'm not gonna lie. We have a lot to go over. Like there was
Hell
just a
yeah.
lot of
Hell
stuff to go
fucking yeah,
over.
dude. We got 2 nights of good wrestling, though. I don't know if I may be in the minority here. I think night one was probably better than night two, but it's your subjective opinion. But that's just me. But do you think? And honestly, with the 2 night takeover, I don't think it's going to be every takeover. To be honest with you, it's not going to be every takeover. Do you think this is a one-time only deal, or it's just once each year around this time?
Well,
I want to get your quick opinion on that.
in my personal opinion, in regards to both nights, I feel like they were both as equal in my opinion because I feel like with them having two separate nights, you got two different types of styles. And I'm just looking at the match card real quick. I don't want you thinking I'm ignoring you, but looking at the stuff that we had, for example, on night one we had Pete Dunne and Kashida. Like you had the style of Japanese Peruso style wrestling versus this type of British strong style wrestling. And just seeing how well they communicated and how well they worked together in the ring, I was just blown away. And that was the opening match on the show, like not including the pre-show between Zoe Stark and Tony Storm. And then you
We'll talk
also
about that.
got
We'll talk about Zoe Stark and Tony Storm for
yeah,
sure.
and then we had an instant classic in my opinion between Walter and Tommaso Ciampa. And I know the main event was a little bit short, but you know what? I really also enjoyed Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. That was just Io Shirai is just, in my opinion, one of the most talented women in the WWE slash NXT, in my opinion, because
And
like
Io's one of the
one,
best in the world. Don't at me, Charlotte bots. Charlotte's not the best in the world. Io is the best in the world, not Charlotte. Don't fucking at me.
that's just, I don't know what it is because like Io Shirai has also wrestled Asuka, also AEW Women's Champion Hikaru Shida, and others like over in Japan. And I don't know what it is. There's just something about like the Japanese style of wrestling that like the females use over there, and it's just when they bring it over to the United States, you just see like just art. And that's one thing I like to think about is in the sport is that wrestling is art, and the way on how everything was just executed, like even like the triple threat tag team match, both nights were wonderful. I see your point on why night one was superior, but I feel like it's kind of hard to compare the two because I feel like like there were both types of styles to appreciate. So I am ready to
Absolutely.
discuss whenever you are ready. So
Absolutely, bro. Um, and then finally the Wednesday night war shit is over, thank God. And by the
I
way,
agree.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I can honestly say this. This is just my personal opinion as a wrestling fan. I get it. Yes, you want to have brand loyalty, have certain types of opinions, but this is my personal opinion. If you think about 20 years ago, where you only had WCW and the World Wrestling Federation at the time, I kind of get it. It was you had to have what you want to be, but I feel like with now with the internet and everything else, there's way more wrestling to watch than there was back then. Think about it. There's WWE, there's AEW, there's New Japan, there's Impact, there's Ring of Honor, there's
Exactly.
NXT, there's the NWA, there's AAA, there's CMLL, there's
MLW
like Lucha Underground. I know they're planning on coming back. I mean MLW, like
and AAA.
ICW. I mean, yeah, I mean like there's so many other options, and I feel like right now, like for me, like because I'll be honest, I'm at the age of 19, about to turn 20 in July, and I'm about to realize that I had so many diverse options to watch wrestling. And I can honestly say, like, if I was furious with an episode of Monday Night Raw, I'll turn on an episode of NWA Power. Or if I didn't like NWA Power, I can turn on an episode of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, we are so diverse into everything. And I feel like now with this whole Wednesday Night War stuff kind of ending, I feel like it's safe to say, you know what? Everything can kind of go back to the way it used to be. Like, just wrestling on different days. And you know what? I kind of get why they did it on Wednesdays. Competition brings out the best in everybody. But you know what? I feel like at the end of the day, you still have to worry about what you want to do for your business rather than try to compare it to
Exactly.
anybody else's.
Don't worry about other
So
companies. Just worry about what you got. Just worry about what you got going on now in your current company. It's like, and again, yeah,
cheers. Cheers to
cheers.
that. I agree.
Yeah. And honestly, this was never a war. It's like this was a fake war. And it's like, do the ratings really matter for Dynamite and NXT? They don't. And
I say
and
no.
I just want, and hear me out on this. You're allowed to like both Dynamite and NXT. I'm just letting you know, guys. You're allowed to like both. If you like both, I'm not gonna come on here and attack you and say you're a mark or you're a WWE fanboy, and I'm not gonna go out on Twitter and just block you. I'm not gonna do that. That's your right. That's your opinion. If you like AEW and NXT or anything, that's your right. That is your opinion.
Oh
It's like
yes.
it's like more power to you. How does that affect me or Escobar or anyone else? It doesn't.
We're
Wrestling's
all
a
human at the
subjective
end of the
matter.
day.
It's like you pick and choose what you like and what most entertains you. It's entertainment. Well, not sports entertainment, but it's wrestling. It's a subjective matter. You pick and choose what you like. You pick and choose what your heart likes. That's what it should be about.
Exactly.
And if you like AEW and NXT, you have every single right to like both if you want. And the
I'll
ratings
give
don't,
you
and
a prime
the ratings
example.
really shouldn't matter for both shows. What they should
Yeah,
matter
I'll give you
for,
a prime
what the ratings
example.
should matter for, is Raw and SmackDown, especially Monday Night Raw, because their show was absolutely abysmal.
You got that right. But I'll give you a prime example. Like, this is my WWF Attitude Era belt that I have, and it shows that I like wrestling like that. But I also, because saving up money, I even have my AEW kids belt from Walmart. And I feel like at the end of the day, like you said, there should not really matter about who does what, who does this, because this is just my personal opinion. I feel like it goes for life in general as well. Is like, I'll give you a prime example. Nick, who's your favorite wrestler of all time? And I'm not even going to judge.
My favorite wrestler of all time, well, I know he didn't wrestle in the 90s or in the Ruthless Aggression era, but it would have to be Daniel Bryan.
All right, Daniel Bryan, great wrestler. Loved him in Ring of Honor. Loved him like even when he was in like the original NXT. Great technical wrestler. My favorite wrestler is Triple H. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, well, you're going to go for somebody that wrestled on the Indies while my guy pretty much did a lot of screwed up stuff, rode the coattails of people, and then ended up becoming successful. I mean, at the end of the day, we can honestly say, hey, I like the work your guy did. You like the work my guy did. It's
Yeah.
just be happy. I also feel like too with this pandemic, with everybody also like being locked in, everyone's like gone a little mentally crazy, which is understandable. But I feel like when it comes to watching stuff like wrestling or other sports, it's kind of a way to distract us and be like, hey, here's a sense of like relief.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
like
what I say.
it gives you something. It's like if you're having like a shitty day, it's like you watch wrestling, it makes you just come out. It gives you a sense of like it just gives you purpose. It gives you something to just be happy about. You know?
Oh yes, like I always take pride in watching wrestling. Like I've been a fan of it even when I remember I started watching like when I was about 3 or 4 years old, but I started getting heavily invested when I was about 8, and haven't turned back ever since. I mean, like you can see a little bit like in the background, you see like my little Four Horsemen poster behind me. I know you can barely see is a Tiger Mask poster that I got from Japan, and then on the other one is a Triple H from when he came back in 2002. So I mean, like wrestling is just doing great, and I can honestly say that NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver reminded me what it's like to actually be a fan of WWE because I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I forget that NXT is part of WWE, and I'll explain why. Because if you look at a show like Monday Night Raw or a show like SmackDown, and you're just like, okay, why am I watching this? Why am I a fan of this? And then you tune into NXT, and you're just like, they have potential. Like there's like legit potential. Like even if you were to look at example, look at the promo packaging for Finn Balor and Karrion Kross versus to how they're setting up stuff for Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. And by the way, Drew and Lashley, that is not main event worthy for Mania Night 1. That's mid card at best. I'm just saying. Sasha and
I
Bianca
think they're
deserve the main event
opening
Night
up.
1, not Drew and Lashley, unless you add Brock Lesnar. But he's not coming back.
I think they're opening that with that match, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. They always change everything the night of, so it's
Vince
always
changes
crazy.
his mind more than he changes his underwear.
You got that right. No, my
You
luck will
know?
probably have Bruce Pritchard or Kevin Dunn be like, "Hey, does this look good? You sure it looks good? All right, perfect. Let's
Yes,
go."
Vince, this looks fantastic, Vince, because I love you. Don, what do
Man,
you think? Uh, Vince, yes, Vince, I think that looks outstanding, man, because you know that if you think it looks because Vince, if you think that looks outstanding, that's great for my course because for that reason, you know that I love a bunch of wood.
You got that right.
Well, what?
I just see that happening
What?
right now.
Kyle O'Reilly? Who? Uh, Kyle O'Reilly. Did you see how many Burger King Whoppers he had, Kyle? Did you see how fat he is? What? Kenny Omega? Omega, he's with Gallows and Anderson? Oh, didn't we fire them last year because they didn't like wood?
I know. It's just hard to believe that like how everything is just turning out. But you know what? I feel like
Unbelievable.
it's
But
instead of worrying
yeah,
about the toxicity trait, I feel like you should worry about some positive and how great NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. So we're gonna get started with night one. The pre-show
yes.
match had Zoe Stark and Tony Storm. What were your thoughts?
Uh, very good match with this show. I mean, with this match on the pre-show on night number one, by the way, guys. Tony Storm and Zoe Stark. Clearly, they're high on Tony Storm. You can tell she's a Triple H girl.
Oh
This
yeah.
was a good match here. Zoe Stark beats Tony Storm here. I don't know what they're doing with Tony Storm, to be honest. And both nights are good, but even the both pre-show matches. But Tony Storm and Zoe Stark, though a good match, but I don't know what they're doing with Tony Storm. I don't know where she goes direction from here, and I want to get your opinion.
All
And
right.
I can't be the only one who thinks this. I mean, I don't mind Tony Storm as a heel, but am I the only one that thinks she's just a natural baby face?
I see that too with the energy that she brings
Like
into
as
the
a
ring.
baby face, she just feels unique and she just stands out. As a
That's how
heel,
I
she
felt with
feels like
Johnny
everyone else.
Gargano. Like that's how I felt with Johnny Gargano. Like when he was in the Cruiserweight Classic, and then when he was also DIY with Tommaso Ciampa, especially with the theme song "Rebel Heart." Like that's kind of what I see like a little bit in Tony Storm. Not like a complete same thing as Johnny Gargano, but like that energy and how you said like you just feel the energy. But I kind of get it, but I prefer as a baby face. But either which way, I feel like she can still perform well in the ring, and no matter if she's a face or a heel, you can always get the best out of her no matter what.
I would agree. I would absolutely agree. But Zoe Stark wins. I don't know what your thoughts are with them fast tracking Zoe Stark, but I honestly think, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Zoe Stark, I mean Tony Storm. I love me some Tony Storm, but do you think, and with Taya Valkyrie coming in and Sarai from Japan coming in now to NXT in their women's division, the best NXT women's division just like so good and just stacked, man, just stacked. And I don't know about Tegan Knox if she's coming back with Raquel Gonzalez and all. We'll talk about that a little while in this video, but um Tony Storm with all these women coming into NXT and a possible NXT brand called NXT Evolve, which I hope that happens, that NXT Evolve brand, which I hope happens.
Me
Do you
too.
think Tony Storm is getting a little lost in the shuffle? Do you think Tony Storm should get called up to Raw or SmackDown? Because you look at Tony Storm, she's like the John Cena of a women's division. You put her on Raw, she could be the face of that division. You put her on SmackDown, she could be the face of that division over there. I don't know. What do you think on that?
In my personal opinion, this is just once again my personal opinion. I don't think Tony Storm should have to worry about going up to the main roster yet, only because I feel like with all the new women that's coming in, I feel like this could be a great way for her to like, in my opinion, get a shot at the NXT Women's Championship and possibly have great like matches with. I feel
Maybe
like
even Miko Satomura, and she's in NXT UK. I get that, but she's only there because of COVID-19 once. And I know there's COVID travel restrictions, some of them, not all and most, but some being slowly but surely just lifted COVID-19 travel restrictions. But once more restricted, I believe. I think that's when I believe after that Miko Satomura will then come to the NXT in the States, in
yeah, I
my
think that's
opinion.
what they're gonna do as well. I feel like that as
And
well because,
plus
like I
with
said,
Kaylee
about
Ray
like
and Aoife Valkyrie, who's very impressive at NXT UK. I truly think she's the one to take the title off Kaylee Ray. Once that happens after that, I think Kaylee Ray then after that does truly come to NXT Orlando.
Yeah. But I don't think Tony Storm's actually lost. I feel like she's actually pretty good in my opinion. And I think that there's like a lot of great matches for her to have. And I feel like they already set up the NXT female wrestler with Rhea Ripley coming up. I understand that it was kind of like short notice due to like because she was the backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan. I mean,
Yeah,
but I feel like Tony Storm can still be in like NXT. In my personal opinion, I feel like Tony Storm can have a great career in WWE without even having to be in the main roster. I feel like she could be just like Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa and just like have fun in NXT, stick to the wrestling ability, and
maybe
still
Walter.
like do within the story. Or Walter as well. I mean, but I don't think she's lost. I feel like she doesn't. I don't think that this is something that the writers would like lose faith in, mainly because this is what I sometimes think is like I sometimes forget that when I watch NXT, I have to remember there's different writers, there's a different director and everything. And honestly, I have faith in Triple H knowing that he will come up with something unique because
Yeah,
I feel like what makes Triple H
absolutely.
unique as him being running over NXT is that not only is he a wrestler, but if you remember in his Thigh Kingdom Come documentary, he always mentioned he always had an admiration for the business aspect of it. So I'm pretty sure he knows how to find a way to make sure you lump a lot of stuff in to make sure everybody's important. So I
And
think
that's
it's
why
going to be good.
Triple H truly has his finger on the pulse of what the fans want and what the fans want to see. Where Vince, on the other hand, is just out of touch and his head is still stuck in the 80s and 90s, and that shit won't work anymore in 2021.
We have the internet now, fam. So nice try.
The past will not save you, Vince. It won't. Where Triple H, he just gets it. He knows what needs to be done. Like Vince and Bruce are they're old, they're out of touch, and they don't care. They're only in it for the almighty dollar, and they don't care what they put on. They just it's like it's like a Vince has lost so much love and touch with wrestling. Vince may have been that genius many moons ago, but now no. Now
Don't
Vince is just out
forget,
of touch and he needs
wrestling's
to
what
be
his father did. Don't forget, wrestling's what his father did. He does entertainment.
yeah.
And this is the same man. Don't
Vince has
forget, this is
always
the
been that
same
guy that just
man.
believes in entertainment, not the wrestling. Vince has always been like that.
Yeah, but don't forget, this is the same man that said that the WWE Championship is just a prop and said that to Steve Austin, a man that he's literally given that championship to so many times.
Yeah.
So, but it's like I said, it's just weird with how you do the comparison. Um, we will move on to the opening match that took
But
place on the
but
USA
yeah, it's
Network
like
and
with
Peacock.
Triple H, it's like this is why I love the guy so much, a businessman that he does. He just gets it. And this is why he needs to take over Raw and SmackDown. If this is what's to come, and look at what Triple H does and continues to do, this is what's to come. Raw and SmackDown will be a success. And Vince, Bruce, and Dunn need to get the fuck out because they don't care. They don't care. But Zoe Stark, before we move on to the first match of night one, I like Zoe Stark, but uh she's good in the ring. And here's the truth. You could be a good wrestler all you want. But if you can't talk, if you have no character, you got no chance in the business. I feel like Zoe Stark is good in the ring, but she has no character. Like, who is Zoe Stark?
Like, that's what I'm still trying
And
to
I feel
figure
like
out too.
Tony Storm should be babyface and Zoe Stark should be heel. When Tony Storm is a babyface.
That's how I felt when I was watching this match, if I'm honest with you. And it's like it's kind of sad because if you look at some of the wrestlers or if you're trying to introduce wrestling to somebody, I'll give you a prime example. If you were to go to the Wikipedia page or like go to like any other websites that involve it, there's really no biography for Zoe Stark.
No,
So
not at
like
all.
so it's like how am I supposed to introduce somebody like, yeah, we have Tony Storm going up in Zoe Stark, and it's like, okay, like who's Zoe Stark? Like
Yeah, it's like just like Jordan Miles. He's good in the ring, but you have no personality. Who's gonna care?
I feel that's what's important, and I feel like that's what most people kind of lack when they try to do wrestling is that yes, there's moments where you can be yourself, but I mean, like you have to have like your character and everything developed. It's kind of like the movie Gladiator. I'm not sure if you've seen that movie. Great movie,
I
by
have
the way.
actually, yes.
Okay, so do you remember that scene where the main character he's in the arena, and then the boss is like, you have to listen to the crowd. If the crowd loves you, that means you know what you're doing. And it's the same thing with pro wrestling, in my opinion. Like I understand because with all the restriction and everything like that, but they still have certain audience members, like how they did for NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. You saw how the crowd was pretty much like, okay, we have this, we have that, and if they like it, they go for it. So,
Exactly. Speaking of fan capacity, we might as well move on. Um, they also increased fan capacity for Takeover, which I'm glad they did. And it was like night and day. And if there's one thing, one truth, since NXT and AEW have both taken a big hit since the start of the pandemic with
mhm.
fans, and it's like fans really make or break a show, and you need real fans. This Thunderdome shit, it needs to go. I'm sorry. I've given it a chance, and it sucks. It sucks. The piped and noises just feel so forced as hell. It's not genuine. It's not natural. It's not organic. It needs to go.
Fun fact that you mentioned that I have actually been in the WWE Thunderdome for numerous episodes of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and I am one to admit that we are actually being told who to cheer, who to boo, and how we're supposed to act. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that. And on top of that, too, they kicked me out because I ate a slice of pizza during a commercial break. So I'm not sure it's because they
Yeah,
hate Little Caesars
yeah. Fuck the
or if
Thunderdome for
like
not letting people eat, drink, and sleep. Like
okay, the
unreal.
sleeping thing I kind of get. The sleeping thing I kind of get. I mean, if the show's boring, you fall asleep. But it's also like,
It's
if
like, do
you need
you
to
blame
like,
them for watching 3 hours of misery on Monday Night Raw? Do you blame them?
I I really don't. But the thing is that sucks. I want you to think about this because this is what happened. I'll talk about this, and then we'll get to the opening match. So my call time was 7:30, and I was supposed to be in between the hours of 7:30 all the way up until 9. So I'm like, okay, so I'm like, what am I going to be doing at 7:30? I forgot they still had WWE main event. So, and they were like, okay, when you Ricochet comes out, you must cheer for Ricochet. But when Tozawa comes out, you must boo for Akira Tozawa. And on top of that, too, you have a guy speaking over the monitor saying, okay, if you see yourself on the TV, that shows that you're one of the most energetic people and stuff like that. Now, I was being energetic. I'm not going to lie. I believe I was being energetic. But they were like, yeah, but you can't do this. You can't do that. You have to have this. You have to have that. And I'm just like, I kind of get it. We're trying to look good on TV and stuff like that. But it's also like, you're definitely making it a job to watch your product rather than, hey, wear your t-shirt, be a fan and have fun. But I just find it
Like,
funny how
where's the
like you can't
passion
eat.
from these people?
Yeah, I don't feel it. But the thing
Or
is like when they say you
NXT,
can't,
or NXT, even if there is virtual fans, it's like they're letting you have fun.
I agree. But like when they're saying like you can't eat or drink anything and stuff like that, like I've been to wrestling events before. They sell pizza, popcorn, they sell beer, they sell like sodas, they sell like
Pretzels, nachos, hot
so
dogs, burgers, tenders, chicken nuggets, French fries, you name it.
the whole 9 yards and stuff like that. So I don't know, but as a and then I got the invitation to be on the Raw before WrestleMania, so I'm gonna eat another slice of pizza, see if I get kicked out again. We're gonna test that theory out. So, but
Unreal, man.
one thing
Absolutely
that was
unreal.
definitely one thing that was definitely unreal though was Pete Dunne and Kashida.
Yes,
Man,
Pete Dunn and Kushida, a technical battle these two were. This was some good
I
stuff,
agree.
man. We might as well talk about the match too. Pete Dunne and Kushida, they actually opened the show. This started when
Mm-hmm.
Pete Dunne made a challenge, said he wanted the best technical wrestler to fight him. And then they had the Battle Royal, the 12-man Battle Royal with this Gauntlet Eliminator implications on the line, and Pete Dunne and Kushida eliminated each other, with Kushida having the hoverboard submission locked in, and both guys eliminate themselves. And then before that they had a backstage little confrontation, and that's how this match came to be. Um, this match here, Pete Dunne and Kushida, we had the bell ring, and as soon as the bell rang, Dunn immediately tries to lock in a triangle choke, but Kushida countered it and almost locked in the armbar. We had some really good spots here where it was just like just Kushida working on the arm and Pete Dunne, usually bending the fingers. I cringe every time I see that.
What
Um,
is it, by the way, with wrestlers like Pete Dunne and Marty Scurll and other wrestlers from the UK working on the fingers? Like, I don't know, but like, I can honestly say it was great back and forth action. Like, I honestly got vibes of like Minoru Suzuki taking on Tomohiro Ishii and just seeing how well these two worked. Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this was like the first time they've actually wrestled, like just in general, if I'm not mistaken. But they had great chemistry, and the technicality of it also brought me Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko vibes as well, with how fast they were going and how the pace was. And I've seen Kushida wrestle before. Like, I've seen his work in New Japan Pro Wrestling, even when he was in the tag team with Alex Shelley as the Time Splitters. I've seen his matches with Kenny Omega when Kenny Omega was in the junior heavyweight division. Pete Dunne, loved his work in NXT UK. Like, Pete Dunne's
awesome.
just phenomenal in my opinion. Like, he's like honestly one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT. And I feel like
things for Pete Dunne in NXT, and I expect him sooner or later to make the main roster.
Me too. Like,
Raw or SmackDown.
Honestly, I would like
No
to see Pete
reason
Dunne
to
on
not push
SmackDown.
this guy on Raw or SmackDown. No reason to not make this guy at least a top 3 guy on Raw or SmackDown. No reason to not do that.
I would like to see him on SmackDown, honestly.
Could you imagine
Like,
SmackDown Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan?
That's what I was gonna say. Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan, or have Pete Dunne versus Big E for the Intercontinental Championship.
Or
Like,
Pete Dunne and Roman Reigns, Pete Dunne and Cesaro. Pete Dunne and Cesaro.
Ooh, man, the goosebumps are kicking in right here, man.
Pete Dunne and Seth Rollins would be a very good match. Pete Dunne and Apollo Crews would be nice as well. Pete Dunne and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens would be some really nice matches there.
And he's worked with wrestlers like that before, so he'll know how to work with them and how to make sure everything's balanced out. But
Pete Dunne,
I feel like
even
it was
the story with
match.
Pete Dunne and Daniel Bryan, that's like a heel Pete Dunne and a babyface Daniel Bryan. The story would just it's like you don't even have to write anything. Daniel Bryan
you
knows
only have to write nothing or put a title on it.
Bryan would love to work with him sooner or later. I think in a Talking Smack not long ago, Daniel Bryan, I think, was on there. He mentioned something about Kushida or Kyle O'Reilly.
Mm-hmm.
Something like
that. I know Daniel Bryan and Kyle O'Reilly have had encounters in Ring of Honor before, because Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fischer, known as Red Dragon, as a tag team back then. And Kushida, I know, like, he was mainly always in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but he'll always come to the States whenever they'll do their cross promotions. But I felt like when New Japan started doing the work with Ring of Honor, let's see, this is like around 2014. Yeah, so Daniel Bryan was already in the WWE by the time this happened. So, but I felt like this was a great opening match, and I feel like it was great to also showcase on Peacock as well, because I think of it too like a little bit
Peacock
of a business.
had a little bit of problems though. Only once tonight they didn't kick me out, but it just froze and went back to the main menu, and I had to go to browse WWE Network, and then luckily it brought me back to. Didn't have to have me start right to the beginning of the show. Fortunately didn't have to make me do that, but it just happened once tonight.
Well,
I'm not sure if you or any of you guys had that problem tonight and last night.
My Peacock issue was that, like, every time I guess someone was trying to log in, or I guess whenever the stream would act up, for me, because I have an Android phone device, because that's what I watched it on, and it would just have like the title show for a minute, and then over the show, and then it would fade out, and then it would go back to the show, and I'm just like, man. I swear, people in the UK are lucky that they have the network, man. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of wish they didn't get rid of the network in the United States.
But Vince, with the money, and Vince can't help himself.
So you're telling me that, like,
when they could have waited, or when they could have had Peacock and WWE Network on the WWE app until August around SummerSlam, then have just Peacock. But no, Vince can't wait, because it's like Vince just wants now, and Vince is impatient and out of touch, and with the money, and Vince can't help himself with the money.
He really can't.
I honestly think Vince should have avoided this Peacock deal, but WWE, the more money they make, the worse they become, with the blood money Saudi Arabia deal and the Peacock deal and the TV contracts with NBC, Universal, and Fox Sports.
Like, we better at least get Saturday night's main event sooner or later, because I mean, like, you're just asking for it at this point. I mean, I better get a Saturday night's main event.
I would love to see it back, but I doubt we get it back. Maybe not. Maybe at least not for now, but I'd love to see it back sooner or later. But Kushida, Pete Dunne, we had Kushida flipping Dunn off the top into a flying hoverboard lock, which looked very nice. And Pete Dunne almost tapped out. I literally thought Kushida was going to win this thing right there. Pete Dunne was about to literally tap the mat, but he barely gets his leg on one of the ropes, and I mean barely. And I literally thought this was over right here. Then with this match, we got Kushida putting Dunn in another submission. Dunn gets his foot on the bottom rope. Dunn catches Kushida's hand, and he snaps his fingers. And
Yes.
this was the turning point. Dunn hits the bitter end for the win, and Pete Dunne wins
That's
this match
such
in
a
a
good
very good
move. Like that's such a beautiful finish move, the bitter end. Like the way on how like he sets you up for it and then that execution. Oh my god, like this was such a great opening match. Like
hell yeah. Where do you think
this
both
was
guys go from here?
in my personal opinion, I would actually like to see a rematch happen. Like, I would honestly like to see like them have like a rivalry, and then they end up having like a submission match or like a 2 out of 3 falls match to see like who's like the best technical wrestler. Kind of like when they did Cesaro and Sheamus for the best of 7 series. I would love to see a best of 7 series between Pete Dunne and Kushida, and the winner will get a shot at the NXT Championship. Like, I feel like that would be a great idea, or the NXT North American Championship. But I feel like Kushida. I don't think Kushida's going to fall down like in terms of ranking, because anything if I know about Kushida, even with his work in New Japan, every time he fell, he would always find a way to come back and like win like either the best of the Super Juniors tournament or he'll find a way to give something to a title match. Kushida's very agile and he has great ability, and I am not gonna lie.
Though
He is
unfortunately NXT's his ceiling. He's like, and I feel like I don't know what you think. His NXT runs is kind of been disappointing. He's not buried, but it's like happy he's in NXT, and I'd much rather him in NXT than on Monday Night Raw. You put him on Monday Night Raw, they'll bury this guy instantly. Put him right in
oh
the
no, he's going to 205
24
live.
right in the 24/7 title, right in the 24/7 title picture, which that would be terrible. 24/7 title, yeah, fuck no.
I don't even see him doing that. I feel like if they were to put Kushida on the main roster, he'll be on there for at least 3 weeks and go to 205 live.
But 205 Live is great, man. Who
But you know what?
watches that show? Kurt
I'm not gonna
Stallion,
lie.
August Gray, who?
I ain't gonna lie. It has a good theme song, but that's it. That's all it
Yeah,
has is a good theme song. Like Take the Crown, that's a great song. Like I mean, it's on my Spotify playlist, but like
yeah,
that's it.
but it's like, but yeah, NXT is Kushida's ceiling. You bring this guy up to the main roster, he don't stand a chance in the hands of Vince and Bruce. But
But in regards, to
but yeah,
Pete
Pete
Dunne,
Dunne, liking what he's doing, but do before we'll talk about this for a quick minute or so before we move on to the next match on night one for Takeover. Do you see a heel British strong style in NXT with Pete Dunne, Tyler
yes,
Bate, and Trent Seven? Because Danny Burch is
yes,
currently out with a shoulder injury. He's going to be out for months. Lorcan's out pretty much on his own. But
I see it happening. I really see it happening, and I feel like the more factions you have in a wrestling company, the better it has a chance to bring out like the next big star or next popular wrestler that is next in line for a singles or a world title in your company. And I know Vince McMahon isn't really big on factions, mainly because he believes that everything should just be about one person. But you have to think about it. Even some of his top wrestlers that he gave like the championship to back in the Attitude Era, they came from factions. Stone Cold Steve Austin was in the Dangerous Alliance in WCW. The Rock was in the Nation of Domination. Shawn Michaels was in a tag team with Marty Jannetty, and he was also with the Click and also in D Generation X.
yeah,
You had all these factions, and I feel like if we were to get a heel British faction, it also helps with the diversity of how wrestling is, because I feel like there's more to wrestling than just all the flashy pyro, the fancy costumes and stuff like that. There's also the shoot style wrestling that you get from British style and Japanese style, such as like classic 1980s New Japan Pro Wrestling. Or if you want to see something that's more of like a modern type retro vibe, you got your wrestlers like Walter. If you want to see something that's like indie based style that's very agile, I recommend you watch wrestlers like Tommaso Ciampa. Or if you just want to watch like high flying action and see great wrestling, I recommend the Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai match.
yeah,
I mean, I feel like we need more diversity, and I'm not saying that like what we have is bad, but I feel like the more diversity, the better we have everyone to appreciate the different styles of, excuse me, the different styles of professional wrestling. And that's one
exactly.
thing I've always believed about the inaugural Extreme Championship Wrestling champion, Shane Douglas. He said, the sport of professional wrestling is about kicking ass and taking names. And I feel like the more diverse we have, we're going to get that.
So
So if we were to get that
adding
faction, it would
maybe
work.
adding Bate and Seven to NXT in the States may not be a bad idea.
I don't think it'll be a bad idea. I think it'll be great for business. And it's like I said, I feel like we need more diversity. That's
Plus
just
with
me.
Ben Carter and Nathan Frazier now in NXT UK and Shaw Samuels and just one other new guy. I'm trying to remember his name. He debuted. Gosh, what is it?
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember the top of his name either. But I feel like
I think
even if we were to get it, it would work.
something like that. I mean, I watch NXT UK, but I'm trying to remember the name. He's very very new to NXT UK. I think he's like has this like sick like demented persona or whatever. It's a little intimidating, but he's currently new to NXT UK and all. Not Bailey Matthews, not Jack Stars. Levi Muir, I think maybe.
I think that is it. Let me see.
Oh, Tio Man. It's Tio Man. It's Tio Man.
All right.
From Germany. He's new to NXT UK. So with those guys coming in now, I think if you move Trent Seven and Tyler Bate to NXT in the States, I think NXT UK would be fine.
It's like I said, the more diverse, the better. And I feel like it'll have everybody appreciate everything. I'll tell you what was diverse though, was that 6-man gauntlet match.
The Gauntlet.
Oh my god.
You had
I'm not gonna lie. I thought Dexter Loomis was gonna win.
Yeah, you had Isaiah Swerve Scott. You had Leon Ruff. You had LA Knight or Eli Drake. You had Dexter Loomis. You had Thick Boy Bronson Reed, who I'm high on, and I'm high on Loomis and I'm high on Bronson Reed. And the next guy, sixth guy in this match, who I'm also high on too, Karen Grimes. Good old Karen Grimes. Because I'm going straight to the moon. You can kiss my grits. Because I'm good old Karen Grimes. Good old Karen Grimes.
Man, when I tell you this match, this was literally a match where I thought, okay, anybody could win. Because I'm not sure if you ever if you've watched wrestling so long, where it's like, okay, it's obvious this guy's gonna win, or okay, they're gonna set it up like this. This was literally a moment where I'm like, okay, almost anybody could win. Like, I mean,
we had
the skills of Isaiah Swerve Scott.
This thing and the bell didn't even ring yet, and I honestly thought. And now a Gauntlet Eliminator, I don't know what you think of the match type, but it's like a Gauntlet match, but with a non-Royal Rumble stipulation, if you ask me. But
it's kind of like a 6-way dance. I felt like in my opinion, you should have just had them all fight at the same time. I felt like that would have been very chaotic and very work.
I mean, I don't know,
but I also see why they did it though.
I don't really get the match. It's like a little bit main roster-ish.
Explain.
Like a little like laziness, uncreative. It's like I thought it'd be like just a regular Gauntlet match, but with a different name. But I'm glad that we got what we got here, and it's like it's like a Royal Rumble match, but you don't get thrown over the top rope.
Yeah, it was like I said, it's kind of like a typical like an ECW style like 6-way dance, and I feel like everything was definitely represented. The skills and the speed of Isaiah Swerve Scott are just phenomenal.
His kicks, man, and his speed.
Yeah.
His in-ring psychology. When he was like, I mean,
it's just wonderful.
Before the bell even rang, but Isaiah Swerve Scott got some offense too, and the kicks that Leon Ruff took when Leon Ruff was hanging on the barricade, his body hanging on the barricade, and Isaiah Swerve Scott.
That's what I was getting ready to talk about.
My God. That looked nasty.
And that sound effect too, like literally, I literally do stuff like this. Like I'm just like, like I feel like I'm taking the hit. It's kind of like when you see an X-ray in Mortal Kombat, you see like the skull fracture and like the bones crack, and you're just like,
Then he had
like
Bronson
that's literally
Reed
what
come
it felt
out,
like.
and he was doing, I think, a shades of Rikishi and Yokozuna. He did some like how he sits and like he shades of Yokozuna. He did that in this match. A nice little tribute to Rikishi and Yokozuna, a former WWE champion.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you, I would not want. You couldn't even pay me to be on the receiving end of a Bronson Reed senton or sit down for Rikishi.
I'll tell you who definitely surprised me a lot, and this wrestler surprises me, and I feel like he doesn't get enough credit, is Dexter Loomis. His appearance,
he is like probably one of the most unique guys on NXT. He doesn't speak or anything.
But what I find unique about him is like, I'm not sure if you get this vibe, But like, even if you just look like, if you're like having a conversation with somebody like in a room, and then you turn back, it's kind of like you see like Stunning Steve Austin mixed with the Ringmaster Steve Austin, like because he has the eyes, the face, and that height. But his mind games, that's the thing I like about him. His mind games, like when he came into the ring and he's like doing something like this, I'm like, okay, like the
Yeah,
mind games this dude has, like
yeah. But
it was
we had
crazy.
Loomis coming out, and we had Swerve pinning Ruff, and Leon Ruff was the first one eliminated. We had Loomis DDT Reed right on the ramp. We had Grimes run away from Dexter Loomis. We then had LA Knight come out last in this thing. We had Cameron Grimes entering, Bronson Reed, Isaiah Swerve Scott, Dexter Loomis, Bronson Reed. We had Cameron. We had all the first 5 participants come out in this match, and then coming out last was LA Knight. His music hits, and he's cutting a promo. He said one line when Leon Ruff. I think this was after Leon Ruff was eliminated, and I LOL'd. I think this was after Leon Ruff got eliminated first in this match. LA Knight comes out, and he's like, "Get this human piece of trash out of here."
Yes.
Not sure if you caught that, and I don't know, but I just LOL'd. I just laughed my ass off with that when he said
I
that.
heard that. It was funny. Like he plays a heel role so very well. But
I
every
mean, he's
like
not bad in the ring. He's not the best in the ring. He's decent. But do you see this as another EC3? Because you don't want to be reminded what happened to EC3 on the main roster 2 years ago. Ultimate Burial.
you're talking about EC1 and 2?
EC1 and 2.
Who? Ethan Carter the who? Oh my god. But yeah, like
I had hopes for
I hope
EC3
they
when
don't
he
go
got
down
built up
that
2 years
road.
ago. Boy, was I proven wrong.
Oh yeah, especially like with that mini rivalry between him and Dean Ambrose.
Oh,
Like, oh my god, that
awful.
was crazy.
But
But
one thing that
don't
I
don't talk
didn't
about
really
that German
agree.
suplex that
What?
happened. I said don't forget about that German suplex that happened in that match where I believe it was
Oh
between
man.
it was Bronson Reed, Isaiah Swerve Scott, and
Yes, a double German suplex.
that I can't remember who
He
it was.
had
I know it was
Leon
Isaiah
Ruff,
Swerve Scott,
and he had
yeah, Leon Ruff,
Isaiah
yeah.
Scott. Almost shades of Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio for WrestleMania 22 in
That
Chicago
was
for the World
that's what I
Heavyweight
thought
Championship.
of. That's what I thought of, but like, man, that was just so
Shit.
unique.
So
And
that
then
was pretty freaking cool. Though in this match, Leon Ruff was out. Then Dexter Loomis was out early. Eli Drake eliminates, or LA Knight, I should say, eliminates Dexter Loomis. I was shocked from this because Dexter Loomis was honestly my odds-on favorite to win this whole thing. This whole
me
thing.
too. I
And
agree
I
with you. I
sit there,
really
I'm
thought he
like,
was about to win.
what? And I'm like, okay, if Dexter Loomis, Dexter Loomis was my pick to win this thing the whole entire time here, and I thought it would make sense because he beat Gargano on non-title weeks ago in NXT, and they've been feuding
He
for a
did.
while, and it's like Dexter Loomis got eliminated. It's like, what the hell? So it's like, okay, Dexter Loomis is out. Okay, so Bronson Reed is a plan B. So it's like, okay, but Eli Drake
Yeah.
eliminates Dexter Loomis, and then Eli Drake is then eliminated, and then after LA Knight got eliminated, I keep saying Eli Drake, LA Knight, the same person. Then after LA Knight gets eliminated, he then gets choked out by Dexter Loomis. Looks like we're gonna get a future NXT feud with LA Knight and Dexter Loomis. Not sure what you think on that, but it looks like that's where they're headed with both LA Knight and Dexter Loomis. We then get Cameron Grimes then getting eliminated. So then it's down to Isaiah Swerve Scott and Bronson Reed. This was a good back and forth between these two. Swerve hits a beautiful 450 off the top. Reed
I thought that
barely
was going to end the match. I really thought that was going to end the match because I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
I can honestly say this, and I'm gonna say this a lot, so I'm gonna warn everybody watching this. I'm gonna sound like a broken record when I say this. When you watch a show like NXT Takeover, like they definitely live up to that name Takeover, and I'll tell you why. If you just watch this match and the upcoming matches that we see, all the moves that someone are able to do, the depth-defying moves they'll have, like they're willing to do what it takes, and it shows that they're
Yeah.
willing to like put it on the line. And I feel like, and that's why I feel like what's going to be a little bit of an issue sometimes with WrestleMania, especially night one. I'm going to just say this real quick, then we'll get back to the match because I had to mention this. Night one feels like a glorified house show, in my
Or like a
personal opinion,
backlash.
or like a backlash. But when you're looking at this card that you got for NXT Takeover, and you see all the styles that everyone is trying to do to get that match of the night, you have fans talking, and that's the thing. It's like it's hard for me to say which one was my favorite match because each match had a great different style to it.
Yeah. Like you said,
So
diversity.
yes, that is something that we definitely need, and everything was just very diverse with this. But Bronson Reed ended up getting the win here to face
He
Johnny
had
Gargano on the
a
next
something
night.
like Reed hits a like a dead eye. There was like a Reed hitting an air raid crash where it's not like a white noise, but he when he does it here and he I go like all of his weight coming down head first on his opponent when it's almost like an air raid
Yeah.
crash. And then Bronson Reed then goes top rope, tsunami splash, and I swear to God, every time Bronson Reed hits a tsunami frog splash, it's like just splat like in it. You will. It's like, oh my God, it's like you could not even pay me to take a Bronson Reed frog splash.
Like honestly, looking at
And
him,
then
I
Wade
get
Barrett on
very
commentary, and I
shades.
really like this commentary with this thing, the tsunami thing. And I like
Yes,
Wade Barrett in his commentary. He's good at what he does at commentary. He's
he
no
did a
more
great,
Ronaldo, but I
especially in
like
the
what he said
unsanctioned
here with his
match.
commentary line.
Especially in the unsanctioned match, he was really good with his commentary. And when I watch Bronson Reed, I get very vibes of like ECW Bam Bam Bigelow and late '90s Big Van Vader. And I feel like they
Speaking
definitely
of
he
Bam Bam
used.
Bigelow and Vader, we'll talk about Gargano and Reed in a while for the North American title. That close to the ending of that match.
Oh, don't even. Oh, what about, are you talking about the? Why don't you even talk about the beginning with what he did as well?
All
Shades of
right,
Bam Bam Bigelow as well. Like, but like I said, we're gonna get into that later because I feel like we're gonna talk about, in my opinion, this was the match of the night for night
but yeah,
one.
Bronson Reed wins it, and this Gauntlet Eliminator was a good match. I expected this to be the weakest of this of night one, but this was actually turned out to be a good match. Not as bad as I expected it to be.
I feel like it was the. I felt like it was the second strongest in my personal opinion.
Yeah, but I thought Dexter Loomis would win this thing. I thought it'd be predictable with Loomis going over, but they went
Me
with
too.
Bronson Reed. But the next match, and you say this was match of the night, possible match of the year candidate. You're not the
Mm-hmm.
only one, bro. NXT UK Championship match. Tommaso Ciampa versus Walter. And by the way, Tommaso
Walter.
Ciampa back to his bald head. Do we
Oh
see
my
Ciampa
god,
Volt coming back? I hope.
man! This match is a Dave and Goliath
Holy shit!
battle.
This was probably match. This was match of the night of night one. Probably best match of both the nights, and probably match of WrestleMania week, and probably a match. And this is definitely with the Furious Nation YouTube channel end of the year 2021 end of the year award show. When that comes at when that video comes at the end of this year here for the channel, this match is definitely going to be a candidate for that show. Walter and Ciampa for the
That's
NXT UK title, no question.
the same for the CNE podcast. This is going to go on here too. And the thing is just like literally, like there are like moments in the match where you literally see like the weight difference, the height difference. Like one of my favorite
Yeah.
scenes, other than the freaking Walter like pretty much bitch slapping the
Walter chop.
announce table.
Yeah. Um,
Like,
yeah,
oh my
that. But
god.
Ciampa and Walter, this match, though there was not much build and Ciampa didn't do anything to earn a shot against Walter, to be brutally honest with you, Escobar.
That is
This,
true.
but this match was a good match and hype, and this was a good hype for this match. I mean, Walter and Ciampa's money written all over it, regardless. But this was a good match here, match of the night, hands down, possibly a match of your candidate for sure. But uh, Walter, he may never lose the NXT UK title. And I watched NXT UK Prelude, Walter versus Rampage Brown, which was very good. By the way, NXT UK Prelude. We'll talk. I'm going to talk about that here in the channel tomorrow, actually, for Friday, the SmackDown before WrestleMania. Actually,
Nice.
I did watch NXT UK Prelude, was a very good show, but um, Walter may never lose the NXT UK title. To be honest,
Do you think they're going to give him the Bruno San Martino reign?
they might. with what they're doing now, he may never lose that title ever. He may hold that title until the day he dies.
We will
Walter
see.
is like a mythical creature. A mythical creature.
So,
But
do
there
you
was like
think
one spot, there was like Walter, and Ciampa was trying to avoid that Walter chop as much as possible. We had Ciampa doing some chops to Walter, trying to get in a slugfest with Walter. We had Ciampa slapping Walter right in the face. We then had then to the outside. You mentioned this moments ago. Walter tries to chop the Ciampa on the announce desk. Walter, the right hand chop, and it's like, and I would be shocked if he doesn't have a broken hand as Walter right hand after this. He chops the announce desk. Ciampa moves out of the way. Walter with his right hand knife edge chops the announce desk, and half of the announce table design came right off in half. Half of that. I kid you not.
I can
In
honestly
this whole
say,
match,
like, if
Walter
I
was
was
favoring his hand. He's got to have a broken hand. If he doesn't, I'd be shocked.
honestly, if I was one of his kids and if he was gonna discipline me with a backhand, I ain't gonna lie, I would just take my L and and bury myself already. Honestly, it was literally that bad.
Like he broke
But
the out half the announce table right in half, the design right in half.
there's gonna be memes for like centuries on that, and I'm not gonna lie. One thing
Absolutely.
that definitely caught my attention was later on in the match where Ciampa's trying to clothesline him, and like he's literally running and running, and I'm like, okay, come on. I'm like, this is it. I'm like, man, he's still up. Man, he's still up. And
Yeah,
I'm
and then
just
Walter
like,
tried to do a single like Boston Crabs. His hand was still bothering. Then he tried to STF was Walter. The right hand was still bothering him. We had
like,
Ciampa trying to go for the Widow's Bell a couple times. Walter was trying to avoid it. And I'm glad they protected the Widow's Bell here. You're not gonna have Ciampa at the Widow's Bell, then Walter kicks out. So I'm glad they protected the Widow's Bell here.
me too.
Just saying.
Me too. I felt like this is just my personal opinion. I felt like everybody won in this match. It was a great style.
Yeah. There was also
And
one spot in this match where Ciampa took some lessons from Pete Dunn. I saw here with this match. Ciampa trying to bend the fingers of Walter. So Ciampa
yes,
lessons from Pete Dunn here. I
it's like
suppose.
I said, that diversity was just so wonderful. And
Then there was
it's
one
like I
spot,
said,
and Ciampa and Walter was so good, and Ciampa looked believable in this match too with Walter as well. So don't even say, "Oh, Ciampa's not believable against big men, man." Watch this match, and he is believable against a big man like Walter. He is believable as
he
Ciampa.
he really is. This is
Even
like
like
it's like I
one
said,
spot where Ciampa did not. It's like a white noise, but an air raid crash like white noise off the top second rope onto Walter. And my God, I thought this was it. From Tommaso Ciampa.
oh my.
Like like the strength of Ciampa. I don't know how he was able to get Walter up with ease, but my God, that was damn impressive.
That's communication. Communication
And
is
I thought
key
that was
on
it.
that
Then
one.
Walter barely kicks out. So that was
He
a
really.
very nice, very awesome spot there. Next snap from Walter. Walter hit 2 power bombs. Ciampa kicks out. German suplex from Walter. And then this ending of this match, Walter finally gets the knife edge chop with his right hand finally, and Walter pinched Ciampa off that. A brutal Walter right hand knife edge chop gets Walter a win for a match, and Walter beats Tommaso Ciampa. What are your thoughts on a knife edge chop ending a match clean?
This is my personal
Think this is
opinion.
anticlimactic or believable or anything?
That's what I was getting ready to say. Like, I felt like you should have ended the match after the 2 power bombs, or at least the German suplex,
Or a
because
clothesline or the sleeper hold?
that's what I was going to say too, or the
Like you did
sleeper
to
hold.
Ilya Dragunov weeks ago in NXT, which was freaking fantastic.
That's what I was going to talk about. What you could have is that like you can have Tommaso Ciampa not tap out, but have him pass out. But the
Yeah,
thing is
that's it.
like if you just do the chop, it's like okay, like I want you to think about this. For example, there are other wrestlers that do a chop. So,
Yeah.
example, Ric Flair. So you really expect me to believe that a chop that was mainly famous by Ric Flair, when every time he does the woo, like you really expect me to believe that that is what took down Tommaso Ciampa, the same man that has went up against wrestlers like Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and Adam Cole, who has taken Panama Sunrises, super kicks, like everything.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me a chop? Like
Yeah,
It
I
should have
can
been
see where
set
you're
up for
coming from.
change.
To be honest, I can see where you're coming from, Escobar. I really do.
But I see why they did it. Like, but I felt like they should have just ended
And they
it
told the
like after
story
the
of
two power bombs.
Walter favoring his right hand and Walter desperately, time after time, trying to go for that chop with the right hand, which is absolutely just devastating, like Big Show's WMD. But so Vic Joseph told the story on that, where Walter finally
That is
get it.
true too. Now that you mentioned that. Now that you mentioned that about like how he was
Vic
trying to
Joseph
favor
on
and how he
commentary
was
did mention
injured.
that.
That is true. That is true too. See, commentators are very smart. Well,
I didn't
NXT
like Vic Joseph with
commentators.
this commentary for Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole. I feel like
Neither
NXT
did
does.
I.
I feel like NXT needs Mauro Ranallo bad.
He was the voice of
NXT needs Mauro
NXT.
Ranallo. I don't know if Mauro's going to AEW, but I feel like NXT needs him more.
Well, I know Mauro Ranallo also does certain stuff in ESPN as well, especially for boxing and certain MMA events. Because I remember I remember like one of his first events he did outside of WWE was the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather boxing match.
Yes.
So that's what I say.
But I do feel like NXT really needs him back. I mean, he was fun in NXT, but I truly believe when the pandemic started, I think didn't Mauro's mother test positive for COVID, and that I think that really took.
Yes.
That was like probably the big reason, if not the reason, why Mauro left NXT last August.
Yeah, and don't also forget
And
either
Mauro
as
didn't
well.
leave
He
on
also
bad terms either. And
that's the thing I
Mauro
was gonna
signed
say.
a
He didn't leave
5-year
on bad
contract
terms.
with WWE and NXT in 2019. His contract wasn't even up.
And on top of that, too, don't forget he was also battling mental health symptoms as well because he was also getting bullied by JBL. And I'm not gonna lie, like,
Well, I
and if
mean,
you
that was
actually hear
before he
about
went to NXT, but it's like, then it's like with the pandemic, and Mauro wanted to be there, and he had to commentate from by himself at home, and so that's
it's
when
like
Mauro was.
this pandemic got
And
everybody messed
Mauro
up.
had a Mauro has a history of issues with bipolar.
That too, and he also has depression as well because if especially with what happened to his best friend. And I feel like that's one thing that's definitely I kind of wish that WWE needs to worry about. They definitely need to focus on the mental health of their staff and their wrestlers because
Absolutely,
so
it
much
just
stuff
sucks
could
that the
like take a toll.
pandemic had to happen too with and what happened with Mauro. I do really miss him in NXT. And Mauro and
I do.
NXT desperately needs him. I really miss him in NXT. Like NXT truly needs Mauro. I mean, you have Wade Barrett, who's good. He's no Mauro, but he's
Yes.
good. You have Beth Phoenix, who's back, which I'm happy she's back. Mickey James, I heard, was commentary on the pre-show. I don't know if she's going to commentate for NXT. I think she'd be a nice addition, maybe for NXT Evolve. But if NXT Evolve brand happens, which I hope happens, and then you got that guy Vic Joseph. Oh,
Yeah.
like a geek, like a clown. Vic Joseph was good on Raw. Then they took him off Raw commentary. Then they took him off the Raw commentary team, and it's like, why? And the only reason Vic Joseph was on the Raw commentary team in late 2019 was because of Paul Heyman.
I always have faith in Paul Heyman. I'm not gonna lie. I am like there. I know Paul Heyman's been done some shady stuff, but I felt like he made a.
But
I
yeah,
wish he was the
NXT
executive producer of Raw again.
NXT truly does need Mauro.
I
NXT's
agree.
not the same when Mauro's not there. It's not the same when Mauro's not there. Wade Barrett's
It's
good, don't
a
get me wrong,
team.
but he is no Mauro Ranallo.
It's a team. That's what you need.
Tomorrow is Nigel McGuinness, and he's in NXT UK only because of COVID. I mean, before the pandemic, Nigel McGuinness was doing NXT and NXT UK. I would assume he's doing back in NXT in the States when the pandemic's over. I would assume.
Yeah, but back to how you say how like how NXT needs Mauro Ranallo, like it's like how you stated before about how like a crowd is impactful when it comes to a wrestling match, or when you're watching wrestling on TV, your commentators are supposed to help you with it. That's why like I feel like one of the best commentators in my opinion will always go to people like Joey Styles, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone, and of course Jim Ross. But I mean, I was gonna say Taz especially. Like if you listen to Taz on AEW Dark, like even when he throws in the comedy
and on SmackDown with Michael Cole,
like he knew what he was talking about. And I feel like even like it's like I said, I feel like most people also sometimes forget like there's also people that are also watching this for the first time. And you need those commentators to be like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
but I
Walter
don't know.
and Tommaso Ciampa.
Like, but I hope Mauro returns one time. But hopefully Mauro to NXT return. Hopefully that happens one day. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's no denying NXT does truly need Mauro Ranallo.
True.
And Yeah, and it sucks that this pandemic happened, and it sucks.
Yeah, it really does in general. Like it really does.
I think
Um,
it took a huge hit, not a big hit. He took a huge hit on AEW and NXT, especially NXT.
I agree. Especially for a lot of the wrestling fans, if honestly, like I know a lot of people will have the whole idea of like,
I
well,
don't know if they're
wrestling's
ever.
not a
I don't know.
sport.
Even after the pandemic, I don't know if they're ever going to turn to Full Sail.
I this is my thinking. Cause Florida pretty much is like open at this point. I mean, because think
Yeah.
about it, Florida also had the Super Bowl this year as well. And
Yeah.
they also are having WrestleMania this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It just depends. Then don't forget too, like Florida's like one of those states now where it's like, okay, everything's fine, but it's not fine. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
We'll
just
have
hard
to
to
see what
believe.
happens, what goes forward with NXT in the future. But the next match, moving on, the next match on night number one, the triple threat tag team match for the vacated NXT tag team titles. MSK, Nash Carter, and Wesley versus Legado del Fantasma of Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza versus James Drake and Liverpool's number one, Zach Gibson of the grizzled young veterans who are, like, in my opinion, the British version of the Revival, now FTR and AEW.
Yes.
They are
Yes.
that damn good. Zach Gibson is fucking great.
And plus, on top of that, too, like it's rare to find a tag team of that caliber that has that retro vibe. And like I can honestly say, like one of my favorite tag teams will always be the team of Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Just the way on how they had great chemistry working together, and the heart attack finishing move, like it was just perfect. I can honestly say this was a very diverse tag team match.
This was tag team wrestling. Hey, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, are you taking notes? Are you taking notes, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard?
Now we're
This is
not
what we
taking
need to
notes on
see
this.
on the tag team divisions on Raw and on SmackDown. What are we doing, Vince and Bruce? What the hell are we doing? Instead, what are we doing? It's like, yeah, SmackDown has 4 teams, 5 whenever Jimmy Uso comes back. He's doing E-time now. Raw, there's like 1 to no teams. AJ Styles and Omos, they're not a tag. They don't. I don't even consider them a tag team. The New Day's seen their day. There's like no teams on Monday Night Raw.
It's
So
as bad as the women's tag team
there's like
division.
4 teams on SmackDown, no teams on Raw.
Like I said, it's as bad as the women's tag team division because they feel like, oh, just put these two people together, they're a tag team, and it's like, no, like
It's a
this is just a daily.
makeshift team like Band-Aid or Elmer's Glue.
This is just a daily reminder, ladies and gentlemen, that Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are your SmackDown tag team champions. To which I just realized that yesterday. If I'm honest with you,
Ziggler, they used to be the expert noodle makers for Titus Catering, but they
that's
failed so
right.
miserably on that as of late that Titus officially this past Monday replaced Roode and Ziggler for noodle making and Titus Catering with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Now Cedric and Shelton are now the new noodle makers now for Titus Catering for Titus O'Neil, making good ramen noodles with some really good chicken broth.
Hurt Business Edition. Let's go. But like, yes, but back to
I
this
still hated
match,
that when
like
they
it
broke
was
up Purpose. Still
diverse.
the dumbest thing they could have ever did.
Oh, don't even get me reminded on that. There's a whole rant on that that we. Oh my
Even
god.
when you have Batista going on Twitter and saying her business should have never gotten broken up, you know you fucked up.
Yeah, it's like we talked about before when I was mentioning the factions that you need with the diversity. I don't know what Vince just isn't a big fan of this, and I'm not gonna lie
Even the
with
Raw roster
this.
told Vince no. MVP and Lashley and everyone else told them no. Even the Raw writers told Vince no. But Vince, he wants yes man because Vince doesn't like being told that he's wrong.
You got that right.
And
But
even if people
yeah,
tell Vince no, Vince will still do what he wants anyways.
freaking this tag team title match was immaculate. You had just I don't even know
MSK
where to
is
put my.
freaking awesome. They are awesome. They were made new stars with the end of the men's Dusty Classic this year, but now they're even more stars now with them as now the NXT Tag Team Champions. I feel the original
You
plan
got that right.
with them winning the titles by beating Lorcan and Birch, but Danny Birch got injured with Karrion Kross and Finn Balor versus Lorcan and Birch for the NXT tag titles weeks ago in NXT, which didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense. And Danny Birch got injured, which it's like, and the match didn't even need to happen. And if you didn't do that, Danny Birch would have not got hurt. And it sucks that he got hurt. Now he's going to be out for months.
True. Honestly, if we allowed cross promotion back, like if WWE wasn't so petty and had cross promotion, I would love to see MSK versus the Young Bucks.
MSK, Young Bucks, and the cross promotion, take my fucking money.
Yeah.
Like, money. Or even
everything.
Gallows and Anderson versus the Grizzled Young Veterans, Legado del Fantasma versus Death Triangle. Phoenix.
Oh my God. Yes.
Phoenix and Pentagon.
Oh, Karrion Kross versus Luchasaurus.
Oh man. Karrion Kross and Lance Archer.
Yes. Dude, Walter
Karrion
versus
Kross
Brian Cage.
Moxley. Oh yeah, Brian Cage. Finn Balor versus Moxley or Omega.
I would love to see the rematch between Balor
or Balor and
Omega.
Neville. The rematch from Takeover, NXT Takeover Rival.
That was it.
When Pac was Neville.
I don't care. He will always be Adrian Neville in WWE. They're so weird when they change their names, but
former NXT.
This was definitely a
former
great
King
match.
of the Cruiserweights, former Cruiserweight champion.
Just watch his ladder match with Bo Dallas.
And even his matches at NXT Takeover Evolution's Neville versus Sami Zayn.
That was another good one, which then sparked the rivalry between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, which also was Kevin Owens' NXT debut.
NXT Neville versus Tyson Kidd and Tyler Breeze.
People sleep on that match. They really do.
Highly underrated match. I don't feel like that match gets enough credit.
It really doesn't. But this triple threat tag team match just showed that WWE knows how to put on tag team wrestling. And
if Vince, Dunn, and Bruce booked this, they would book it so bad. Apparently, Vince, Dunn, and Bruce, they don't give a fuck about tag team wrestling. They don't.
True. I actually mentioned this on the CNE podcast.
Right here.
Yeah. I actually mentioned this on the CNE podcast before I did this recording with you because Cameron, Stuart Lawson, and I were talking about the women's tag team turmoil. And apparently what they're planning on doing is that they're planning on having Carmella or Billie Kay team up with Bayley to take the not the SmackDown Women's Champions, the women's tag team champions, because they were like, oh, Bayley's not on the WrestleMania.
Was that the original plans, or are they thinking of that?
It's the original plan because on the Spanish commentary butchered it, saying that that's what they were going to do.
Billie Kay and Bayley, no. Bayley Carmella at least makes sense because they had history as Baymella in NXT. Billie Kay, no.
We'll see. Because like I said, we'll see. But
perhaps you
this
give
is
the
how
Riot
you do
Squad
tag
the
team
women's
wrestling.
tag team titles, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan this weekend at WrestleMania. Then you do Ruby and Liv versus Bayley and Carmella.
Are you saying give the tag team titles to an actual tag team?
I mean, the Riot Squad are the only legit women's team that are not a makeshift team.
You got that right.
Lana and Naomi, no. Mandy and Dana, no. Nia and Shayna,
really
absolutely no. And get Shayna away from Nia. She's worth so much more than being paired with Nia Jax and Reginald.
Make sure you. Oh yeah, Cameron says that he hopes that that Nia and Shayna lose the tag team title, so the next night on Raw, Shayna just beats up Reginald, beats up Nia, and then finally has her singles run, and that's what we need. But yes, this triple threat tag team match, back on topic, great style of wrestling, and you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing how
There was we had really nice tag team moves, a bunch of good near falls. We had Wilde and Mendoza hitting a Van Terminators on Carter.
Yes.
That was very freaking cool. We had one spot where, for a while, Legado del Fantasma, both members, actually, I think it was toward the end of the match, both Legado del Fantasma members were taken out by Grizzly Young Veterans and MSK on the outside. Then it came to the turning point of the match, the ending of the match. MSK and Grizzly Young Veterans stare down in the ring, a big fight feel. Then just going at it and all. And they protected Ticket to Mayhem too. I'm glad they protected that move as well, just like the Widow's Bell with Tommaso Ciampa. Bunch of good near falls here. We had one spot, and this was the turning point of this thing. I think it wasn't it. I think it was Nash Carter Wesley was one of them. Hit like a really cool new move, like almost like a twisting corkscrew double cutter springboard.
I think it was Nash that did that.
It was like new from MSK. That was freaking cool. That was a turning point. And then tag made. MSK hits their finisher. It's like not a heart attack, but has the guy here, and it's like a floating blockbuster.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't even know what that move is called, but that move is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
that my favorite tag team move ever from MSK, along with where Nash Carter does the flip and Wesley pushes him.
Yes, this
MSK
was just an
is
excellent.
so freaking good. They remind me a lot of the Hardy Boys.
That's what I was gonna say too. I get like future
And
Hardy
MSK
Boy vibes.
represents NXT, and I'm glad NXT signed them when they left Impact Wrestling. And I'm glad they're in NXT. They're doing great. They're gonna do great things in NXT. And I heard, and I'm like, and I also was thinking this for a while. What does MSK stand for? Must see kids.
I'm trying to see. No, it hasn't said anything yet, but I know back then they were known as like the Rascals and like Scarlet and Graves, but they haven't said anything yet. That is the mystery
was a very,
thing.
very good match here. And unfortunately, Trey Miguel's not with them right now. I don't know why he's still in Impact.
Give it time.
He just needs to get out of Impact and join his Rascal Boys in NXT. No one cares about TNA. The same show who people are saying got 38,000 viewers, and Impact is dead.
I'll be honest with you. I stopped watching Impact when they brought in Hogan and like
Bischoff.
Nash, and
they tried the 2010 Monday Night Wars, and TNA absolutely failed hard.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie. I'll be honest with you, that's when I stopped watching it. I read about it, but I stopped watching it.
That was a terrible move. The worst move they could have ever did.
I know.
Then
the whole stuff with Dixie Carter didn't work
years ago. Years ago, they had higher ratings, and now it's like they're just dead. No one even, it's irrelevant. It's like no one even watches that show. Now you have Tommy Dreamer on there, Rhino, who are past their prime, Heath Slater, Eric Young. Like, they're not draws.
I want you to think about this. When I was like a while back ago, when it was TNA, I went to a show out in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and the main event was AJ Styles versus Booker T for the TNA Television Championship. And when I tell you that crowd and how hyped everyone was, that is what I miss. But when I watch Impact Wrestling, even with the stuff that they're doing with AEW now, it's like, okay.
Like, yeah, it's like.
That's why, like, I'm not really a fan of the whole. Yeah, that's why, like, if I'm also, I'm not really a fan of like the whole Elite storyline. But I'm not saying like it's all bad. But it's like with Impact, it's like okay, like just I'm like it's a matter of time before you get to New Japan. So I'm just patiently waiting. Yeah. But one thing that I would
the main event of night number
yes.
1. NXT Women's Title match. Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez with Dakota Kai. We had Shirai. As soon as this bell rang, Shirai charged immediately at Raquel, and I'm glad Io, and even the build to this, Io wanted Raquel, so it's like Raquel's like this big monster, and Raquel Gonzalez, by the way, she's the real monster, is Raquel Gonzalez, and not Braun Strowman, the freight train.
This is the same man that got offended by having slime in 5th grade report cards.
Braun. The stupid express. Braun, because Braun Strowman runs fast. Not sure if you realized that. And then, so Raquel and Io.
More or less.
Yeah. So Io, before this match here, Io, the champion, wanted Raquel. He wanted to challenge Raquel. And that makes Io look like a badass. So I'm glad it wasn't Raquel challenging Io, because you want to challenge a monster like Raquel, so.
That's a fighting champion. That's a fighting champion. Like, I always like it when the champions challenge, like when they pick their challenger, because it's like, I want you. It's kind of like how, I'm not sure if you follow New Japan Pro Wrestling, but like recently, Will Ospreay won the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, and he called out Okada. He's like, you beat me in the Tokyo Dome. I want my revenge on you. And I'm like, that's a Chad right there. Like, you go.
Yeah. And Io, one of the best in the world. Charlotte's not the best. Don't at me. Io is better than Charlotte. in terms of best in the world. Don't even at me, guys. Don't at me.
I'm not even gonna cap. Literally, in my top 10 for female talent, at least 70% of them are Japanese talent.
Yeah. I would have to be in the same boat with you with that as well, Escobar, honestly. And Raquel Gonzalez, I want to say that she's come a long way. She really has. When I first
Yes.
looked at her at Takeover Portland, I was like, no, this is just like Raquel is just there, just another one-trick pony like Braun Strowman. Man, did Raquel prove me and a lot of people wrong. And then she started getting better and better and better. And the pairing with Dakota Kai is just great. It's almost like a female version of Shawn Michaels and Diesel, to be brutally honest.
That's what I get. I get that
I
vibe
remember
too, a
Takeover
little
War
bit.
Games for the women, December 2020, where Raquel pinned Io in that women's War Games. And the finish of that was freaking cool. Raquel has improved
Yes.
so much in that ring. So much. And you look at Tamina Snuka, and Nia Jax. They're terrible. Raquel, you can tell she's actually trying. Raquel actually tries. Raquel Gonzalez actually tries. Tamina and Nia, they don't try. They don't even care. They don't even want to be there. Tamina's just.
I think it's a matter of leadership.
Nia's just a hazard.
I think it's a matter of leadership if you think about it, Nick, because it's like we explained before. Triple H knows what the fans want and how to utilize the wrestlers. Vince McMahon just wants the yes man, and it's like Vince like, well, you're related to The Rock, so you must wrestle like The Rock, and you're related to Jimmy Snuka. Well, you know what? I covered for him when he was on a murder trial, so okay.
Yeah. Tamina's
like,
just dead weight though. Why is she even there?
I'm not gonna lie. I remember Cameron and I literally did a fantasy booking idea on how to book an all-out Samoan faction and put Tamina in there or put Naomi in there with like the Usos
with
and Roman
and
Reigns.
Heyman and the Usos. Probably Nia would make more sense. Would probably make the most sense because she's Samoan, and anything
True.
Roman touches turns to gold. I don't know. I don't know if Nia's with Roman. I don't know if I may give it a chance. I don't know.
We'll see. But this match was just
Raquel,
phenomenal.
She's coming a long way. Yeah, and this match was definitely phenomenal. I'll never forget, even before this match, the build where Raquel had Io in a two-handed chokeslam position, thrown Io right through the wall. The NXT before Takeover, send delivered. That was freaking awesome. I was like,
not even
that is a monster.
Not even to mention the flying crossbody that Io did from the top of the skull, and I really like the stage setup. By the way, I kind of got,
and it's like
I got vibes from Survivor Series '98.
Io's just a thing of beauty,
genius of the sky, and I love the stage setup. I just got Survivor Series '98 vibes when they did the Deadly Games tournament, and
yeah, so did I. We had Dakota try to interfere in this match, but she got ejected from ringside. So we had Gonzalez catching Io. We had Io do some suicide dives. Gonzalez catches her and lawn darts her into the ring post. Gonzalez brings her right back to the ring, hits a modified power bomb. Io kicks out. We had Io doing a 619 tribute to her favorite wrestler, Rey Mysterio. Io Shirai with a springboard dropkick after that. We then had Io do some stomps and all, like the foot stomps from Io Shirai. We then had Io doing a crossface on Gonzalez. Gonzalez gets to the bottom ropes, force a rope break. Io Shirai then hits her moonsault, and Raquel Gonzalez kicks out, and Io was just in disbelief. And the ending of this thing, we had Gonzalez booting Io right in the face. We had Gonzalez hitting a one-arm powerbomb onto the floor. We had Gonzalez dragging Shirai back in the ring. Gonzalez tells Shirai to stay down. Shirai then lands a palm strike, Io with uppercuts as well in this match. Then Gonzalez clothesline, turning Io right inside out. Then another one-arm powerbomb for Raquel in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Raquel Gonzalez is your new NXT Women's Champion. This was a very, very good match here. But do you feel like this match? I read after this match that the match was indeed rushed.
I felt that because I'm not sure it's because they were on a certain time limit. Because you have to remember too, they were also on the USA Network as well.
Yes.
So that's the thing that people seem to forget. Like, not only was it on Peacock, you had also the USA Network. Yes, it was rushed a little bit, but I felt like even with it being rushed, they still made the best of it. And I feel like it wasn't kind of like a short Brock Lesnar match. Like it wasn't
Like
like a
remember, like
Goldberg
No
versus
Mercy
Brock Lesnar
2017, the
match.
Brock Lesnar Braun Strowman, which was garbage.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like that match, it wasn't like that. And the thing is that they still made the best work with the situation. But honestly, night one was definitely, even just looking
Night
back
one
at this,
stood and delivered. No pun intended with NXT Takeover stand and deliver, but Raquel
it really
Gonzalez,
did.
I think truly deserved. Raquel's come a long way. Who do you think is the first one? And I got 3 questions real quick to ask you here before we move on to night 2 with the matches on night 2.
All right.
3 things real quick. Who do you think is the first challenger for Raquel Gonzalez? And do you think this is EO's send-off to the main roster, Raw or SmackDown? And your thoughts on EO's title reign? She's literally run through most of that division. And I can't shit on EO's title reign. Her reign has been fantastic.
I can honestly say Io Shirai, even before she came into the WWE, it's like I said, I followed a little bit of her career because she's also had matches like with Asuka when she was known as Kana, also with Hikaru Shida when Hikaru Shida was first training out to be a pro wrestler. The title reign, very magnificent. It very showcases that they believe in a lot of their Japanese artists of wrestlers. Um,
Yeah.
Unless I feel like this isn't EO send off yet, I see honestly another rematch happening.
There was on Twitter post right after night 1 takeover. EO did a bow and fans chanting EO with the increased fan capacity, which I'm glad they increased more fan capacity. And then EO doing the bow and fans chanting EO, EO, and EO bowing. Do you think that is a send off or not? Or do you think we see EO on Raw or SmackDown after WrestleMania? And Bayley's not on WrestleMania. Do you think we get a Ding Dong Hello segment or Bayley Open Challenge at Mania one of the nights? Do you think we get Bayley and Io Shirai?
I say no, we're not going to get that WrestleMania segment only because it's already been set in stone what they have planned for WrestleMania. Unless they plan something on SmackDown and they're going to be like, hey, this just announced we're going to have this on night 1 and night 2. But we'll see as of this recording right now.
But Bayley should be on Mania, though Bayley and Io Shirai would be great. Io and Sasha Part 2 signed me up, Io and Bianca, but I want to be honest with you. I don't want Io on the main roster. I don't. But if you're going to call her up, and they signed Saray as well, she was shown on night 1. Saray.
I feel like, honestly,
now it's like,
I don't
if
want
Io's
her to
getting
go
called
either.
up, for the love of God, don't send her to Monday Night Raw. Don't send her to Monday Night Raw.
That's probably what they'll probably send her.
If she goes
but
to
in
Raw,
my personal opinion,
SmackDown, at least
in my
she
personal
has
opinion,
Sasha and Bayley. On Raw, she'll just get lost in the shuffle.
I want her to have another title match with Raquel Gonzalez, and Raquel beats her again. Believe it or not, because I want to see the continuation of it. Because I really like that camera animation where she's on the ground and she's like struggling and trying to get up, and then Raquel's looking at her holding the title. Like, I feel like you could do like another match with that, and then you can send her off. Because the thing is too is like when you're trying to call up the NXT talent, like don't forget WWE has Damian Priest. We also have Rhea Ripley. Um, Believe it or not, in my personal opinion, I feel like we need more stars on SmackDown than we do Raw because Raw just has too many people.
Raw has more than enough talent. They just refuse to use it. Jeff Hardy, Keith Lee, where are they? Ricochet, you know.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like that,
no
if
better,
you're gonna put Io Shirai anywhere, put her on SmackDown.
And SmackDown has, I think if Io's getting called up, fine. I don't want her on the main roster, but if you're gonna call up Io, fine. Don't put her on Raw, put her on SmackDown. I feel, and it's like SmackDown's no better, but at least on SmackDown you have some of a chance of success. Raw, you have zero chance.
Yeah,
in my honest opinion. And look at the matches if Io goes to SmackDown. Io versus Bayley, Sasha, Bianca, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, who's very underrated, who's gotten a lot better in the ring. Natalya, Becky Lynch, since Seth Rollins is over there on SmackDown. I don't know if Ronda Rousey's coming over there, but I don't know where. And rumors of Becky and Ronda coming back soon, according to WWE President Nick Khan. With Becky and Ronda, I don't know which brand they both end up on and all, but
probably opposite brands again.
Yeah, I don't know, but we'll see what happens. But maybe this was Io send off, or maybe like you said, maybe we get a rematch and Io loses the rematch, then gets called up.
That's what I would like. I would want that to happen. Like it's like I said, because you already have Rhea Ripley.
We have to see what they truly do, but when you know someone's time is up, you know someone's time is up in NXT.
You got that right.
And also, and again, and I want to say this before we move on real quickly to night 2 and the matches on night 2. Look at majority of NXT call-ups that have failed. It's not the NXT talent's fault. It's not. It's like, and I'm telling you right now, with the NXT talent, when they get called up, if you have nothing for them on the main roster, don't call them up. Look at with the Shield. They had plans. That's why they were successful on the main roster. Look at a
the
guy
White
like
family.
Keith Lee. They brought him up with no plans. The White family, too. Look at Keith Lee. Look at Dominic Dijakovic. It's like, that would be Io's future on Raw. There's no use for Io to go to Raw. And I feel like Raw doesn't need Io Shirai. They have Asuka, Rhea, and Raw is the Charlotte Flair show. Why would you want Io on Monday Night Raw? Because Charlotte loves to feast.
It wouldn't make sense in my personal opinion.
I don't want Io on the main
like...
roster, but she has a. But if you're gonna call her up, put her on SmackDown. Just don't. For the love of God, do not put her on.
She's better on SmackDown too.
Raw, she's done.
I feel like, but on top of that too, my personal opinion, like, if you put her on, like, you already have Asuka for Raw, and that's already part of your Japanese Peruso style talent. So if you have two talents, I feel like if you're just I just don't want Io Shirai to get up to the main roster to put her on Raw just for her to be in a tag team with freaking Asuka, like they did with her and Kairi Sane.
2.0, nobody wants to see that.
No, like, we don't need to freaking
that
do
is
like
beneath Io Shirai. That is way beneath Io Shirai.
We don't. That was even beneath Asuka and Kairi Sane.
Io Shirai up to the main roster. You treat her as a queen. You treat her as a queen, not in the women's division, not below Becky, not below Ronda. You treat Io as a queen, as a level of Ronda.
Bro, she's Japanese. She's an empress. What you talking about?
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Go ahead.
Raw has Asuka. NXT has Saray. NXT UK has Miko Satomura. SmackDown has no female Japanese wrestler. Why would Io go to Monday Night Raw if she's getting called up?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. It makes sense for her to go there so that we have all the diversity of the
and
Peruso
with Bianca
talent.
And Sasha on night 1 WrestleMania, whether Bianca wins the title or Sasha wins the title, whether Bianca wins a title at WrestleMania or Sasha retains at WrestleMania, how about, and I know this is not WrestleMania 38 yet, what about WrestleMania 38 for the SmackDown Women's title, Bianca Belair versus Io Shirai? And
That's
Io wins
right
and then with the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble, you give it to Io Shirai from SmackDown. I mean, do the SmackDown Women's title next year at WrestleMania 38 and 2022 in Dallas, and hopefully the pandemic's over by then. SmackDown Women's title match, Io and Bianca, WrestleMania 38.
I agree. I feel like that would go very well.
But Raquel and Io, a good match here. Raquel, I don't know where her first challenger is. Maybe Toni Storm or Zoe Stark. It may be Zoe Stark, but I don't know what they do. But we'll see what happens. But that was that for night number 1, Takeover Stand and Deliver. Very good show for night number 1.
Agreed.
And then we're gonna move on to night number 2, Takeover Stand and Deliver. We had a pre-show match with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick versus Brijango, with the winning team getting a title shot against MSK at a future date for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We had Killian Dane and Drake Maverick winning this thing after Dane powerbombed Maverick onto Fandango and Maverick pinned Fandango. I don't know what you think on this. I don't want to waste too much time on this. I mean, Brijango, they're talented, but Dane and Maverick, they're slowly starting to grow on me. I mean, either team versus MSK should be a decent match either way. MSK is not losing.
Oh, no.
I don't know what you think on this, but
I feel like it was too comedic, in my opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Because
when you think when you think NXT, do you not think Brijango?
It depends, if I'm honest with you. But when I hear NXT, my tag teams honestly go to MSK or Undisputed Era before they broke up. The Way. I mean, that's just my opinion. But the match was decent. But the opening match definitely delivered.
Not the worst. It was decent at best.
But the opening match for night 2 delivered, in my opinion.
NXT Cruiserweight Championship Unification ladder match: Jordan Devlin versus Santos Escobar. And my God, Santos Escobar's
not me.
Mask. Fucking great.
I loved it. Like I said, I love the Lucha Libre style. I love the lucha libre style. It's very sentimental and valuable to me to see like those types of entrants for like a lot of the Hispanic Latino wrestlers. It's just so amazing to watch.
We had
So many interesting moments. One thing
some a good
I would
match
love to
here. We
mention this
had
before you continue.
a very good match here. We had um that's some really good spots here. We had, I believe, a moonsault from Devlin off the top of a ladder. We had Legado del Fantasma
I
getting
would like to
involved.
mention that one thing I loved is that the refs actually, if you look in the bottom corner, they were actually holding onto the ladder to make sure that the wrestlers were safe about that. And I'm not gonna lie, that made me happy so much, mainly because like I get it, wrestling's not quote unquote real or whatnot, but the safety is important. And to see like how there was like little cutscenes where like you see refs holding onto the ladder, look like they were trying to get involved, but they were actually protecting them. I thought that was very unique and it added a lot to the chemistry. Not only about the moonsault, but the Spanish fly off two of the ladders when Santos Escobar trying to grab for the title, and then and then Devlin sets up the ladder next to him, and then they start beating each other up, and then a Spanish fly happens. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and Legado del Fantasma gets involved. Spanish fly off the top ladder from Jordan Devlin, a thing of beauty, man. My God. And then the
Chef's
ending
kiss.
of this match, yes. And then the ending of this match, both guys are on the top of the ladder, both Santos Escobar and Jordan Devlin. Devlin gets pushed off the ladder. Ladder set up and leaned up against the corner in the turnbuckle, right? Devlin gets pushed
Yeah,
off, goes through the
he
ladder, and you
headbutts
could
him.
see
He
blood
headbutts him.
visibly on headbutt him. Devlin knocked off the ladder through another ladder. Ladder broken in half in the corner. You can see the blood from the back of Devlin's left shoulder. And Santos Escobar is the undisputed cruiserweight champion. I want to be honest with you. I expected Jordan Devlin to win. I was shocked that Santos Escobar won this thing. And I know
Me
there's
too,
some
believe it or
trolls
not.
on Twitter saying, "Oh, Santos Escobar ripped Jordan Devlin's head off. He's a sexual predator. I want a beehive to go at Triple H if Devlin wins this thing. Devlin's a sexual predator with the speaking out movement." Are we really stuck in that fucking thing with last year with the speaking out movement? Really?
I get it; it was an issue, but I'm not being mean. It's like
I DJ Storm,
if
shout
there
out to
was
DJ Storm,
issues,
by the way. I even DM'd him during the show tonight. He said there was zero evidence to prove Devlin was a sexual predator, so the report was all bullshit. But you know who is a
yeah,
sexual predator? It's not Jordan Devlin, it's Velveteen Dream, because he has not apologized.
yeah, that is a. I feel like, in my personal opinion, if you're trying to get on Jordan Devlin and back up
So it's like,
Velveteen
fuck the
Dream,
trolls who
that's
say Devlin's a
hypocritical.
sexual predator and fuck Jordan Devlin. It's like, really, you're really going to be stuck from that shit with the speaking out movement from last year. It's like, really, just grow the fuck up.
Yeah, hypocritical.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, so it's like, back to this match. I totally expected Devlin to win, and Shawn Michaels is very high on Jordan Devlin, still is. Devlin is
Mm-hmm.
truly the Irish ace, one of the best Irish wrestlers in the world. That's not a nickname anymore. That's what Jordan Devlin truly is. But Santos Escobar wins. I was absolutely floored that Santos even won. And where do you really think both guys go from here? Talk about that for a few minutes or a minute or so. Where do you think both guys go from
Santos.
here? Who do you think beats Santos Escobar? Now who's left for Santos Escobar? I feel like Devlin should have won, and Santos moves up the card because I think he's bigger than that cruiserweight division at this point. Now that Santos Escobar is undisputed cruiserweight champion, who beats Santos Escobar now for the cruiserweight title? Who?
I'm gonna make a bold prediction. Kushida.
Kushida. You really think he beats Santos Escobar?
Trust me. I feel like he'll beat him in the summer.
Really? Or at least the next takeover in June?
Yes, I feel like he
But
will.
if not, if not Kushida, I mean, I would say Kushida as well. Or if not him, how about? And I know he's on SmackDown, but Dominic Mysterio, have him move from SmackDown to NXT because I like the Mysterios, but I don't think Dominic Mysterio's ready yet for the main roster. Dominic Mysterio, have Dominic Mysterio in NXT for a while, win the cruiserweight title in NXT, drop it to whomever, and then go back to SmackDown where his father Rey Mysterio was. Like, remember when Rey Mysterio was on SmackDown in the early 2000s during the Ruthless Aggression era and the very beginning of the very first brand split. Rey Mysterio was a former Cruiserweight champion. Have Dominic Mysterio and NXT wrestling Santos Escobar for the Cruiserweight title, and have Dominic Mysterio win the Cruiserweight title, the same title that his father Rey Mysterio made famous.
Yes. That is actually very...
And
I like
Mysterio's
your
and
booking
Legado
on
del
that.
Fantasma, that's money waiting to happen.
And
Because Rey
plus it adds
Mysterio is
more
one of the
to
greatest
Lucha Libre techniques.
Because Rey Mysterio, one of the greatest Lucha Libre wrestlers of all time.
I agree.
And Santos Escobar trying to create his own image of Lucha Libre and his own vision and image. That's money waiting to happen. Legado del Fantasma in a program with the Mysterios. That's money waiting to be printed. So if not Kashida, then definitely Dominic Mysterio.
I like that idea. That was very unique on that.
That's money waiting to happen, and the story tells itself. It tells itself.
It does.
But where do you think Jordan Devlin goes from here, though, man?
I really hope he doesn't go downhill and gets like lost in the sauce. I really hope like he has a chance to at least pick up a few more wins and hopefully gets back into the picture.
Yeah.
But I feel like if Shawn Michaels is high on him, that's a possibility. But I feel like if Shawn Michaels is high on him, I feel like they'll have a good chance to like find something useful for him. Because normally Shawn, with his veteran experience and stuff like that, despite the controversial stuff he's done in the late '90s, he'll find a way to make something happen.
I hope so. But if there's two guys I have faith in, it's Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that I will say. Next match on night 2. Not sure if we really want to talk much about this because
I don't. I feel like this was the weakest match in my opinion.
Women's tag team titles, they're just as worthless. I mean, better than the main roster women's tag titles, but still worthless. NXT women's tag.
There was a lot of botches in this match too.
Blackheart, Ember Moon versus The Way. Yeah, some botches. Yes, there were some botches here and there.
Like Ember Moon for getting her title in the entrance.
What?
I'm not sure if you noticed, but when they got off the little tank or whatnot, Ember Moon forgot to bring her title to the ring.
Oh man!
And she's like, and then when I can't remember, I think it was Shotzi Blackheart that attempted to do a tope suicida and literally didn't hit no one.
Yeah, there was like a Shotzi Blackheart, man. I love Shotzi Blackheart, but she's like a Darby on like Jeff Hardy female version. She is absolutely fearless, doesn't care, like puts her body on the line to entertain all of us. And I love Shotzi Blackheart. I really do. There was like one spot, suicide dive, missed it, almost killed herself.
Yeah.
That looked nasty, like just scary too.
But yeah, I'll be honest, this is all I'm gonna say, and then I'm ready to talk about the North American title match. Like
there was one spot
I feel like it was the
where
weakest.
Ember Moon did some shake, rattle, and roll. A nice little tribute to Road Dogg. I'm happy he's doing fine. Hopefully he's doing better. I'm glad he's doing better health wise.
Yes. Like that's the only thing that I thought was pretty good.
I'm happy he's doing a lot better.
Yeah, that's the only thing I thought that was pretty good. Like but I felt like that was the weakest link.
That was very nice from Ember Moon.
Yes.
Then
I feel like other than that, it was the weakest.
Double Eclipse, Shotzi Blackheart hitting a diving senton. That was it. Shotzi and Ember win, rightfully so. No reason for them to lose here. To be honest.
Yeah, you got that right. I feel like they'll find a way to come back with the way.
And Indy Hartwell, I'm glad she was Candice LeRae, but she has work to do. She does.
They'll find a way to work it. And plus, I have faith in Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano does know how to work a little bit with the wrestling mindset.
He does. Speaking of Johnny Gargano, the next match
on
number 2, North American title match. Johnny Gargano defends the North American Championship against Thick Boy Bronson Reed. With Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano's corner. Yeah, Australian thick boy Bronson Reed.
That's right. Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal, bruh. Honestly, like
here, Gargano brought Reed to his best match. It's impossible to have a bad match with Johnny Gargano. It's damn near impossible.
He's Mr. Takeover for a reason. He's Johnny Wrestling. He's honestly my favorite indie wrestler before he came to NXT. Like, just his charisma, his
Gargano
style.
may be WWE and NXT for life.
That's fine.
Maybe
he is literally the epitome. You don't need the main roster.
Very well that till the day he dies.
And that'll be fine.
Same thing
that
with
will honestly be.
And Walter.
Remember, Ciampa's literally said before in interviews, if I go up to the main roster, my career is over.
Or he'd say pretty much where he said he'd rather much retire than go to the main roster.
Yeah. Plus, he wants to stay with his
And
father,
do you
Triple
blame
H.
Tommaso Ciampa?
I don't. He wants to be with his father, Triple H, anyway.
Yeah, because he knows how to book Ciampa. Vince, Bruce, hell no.
Oh no. But yeah, this was definitely a great back and forth match. The
We had Gargano
moonsault
trying to
that was
slingshot spear,
attempted.
but it didn't even phase Bronson Reed's favor in his midsection.
I liked when Bronson did the cartwheel just like Bam Bam Bigelow. That was very unique. Also trying to do a moonsault like Big
Bronson
Van
Reed tried
Vader.
a Vader salt.
Yes, that was just
He
beautiful.
missed it though, but it was a nice little tribute to Vader. God rest his soul.
Great technique though. Yes.
And I will say, Bronson Reed,
I feel
as
like
big as he is, very, very agile, a man his size. I really like it when big men wrestle like a cruiserweight. It's not something that you see very often.
exactly. That's why I give a lot of huge credit to Bam Bam and ECW and Big Van Vader. Very just like I said, it's a chef's kiss moment, and Johnny Gargano definitely.
Chef kiss
When I found out that he was, when I found out he was wrestling Bronson Reed and not Dexter Loomis, I'm like, okay, he's gonna retain the title. But I'm really hoping for a Johnny Gargano and Dexter Loomis title match down the road. Honestly.
Yeah. Yep. And we had Gargano working on Reed's ribs. That was the story. Also in this match, we had Bronson Reed going for his frog splash. He missed it. I think it's the first time he's ever missed his Bronson Reed his tsunami frog splash. Thank goodness for Mr. Johnny Wrestling.
I agree with that.
We had there was Johnny doing some super kicks. He did 2 super kicks. Was Johnny Bronson Reed with a super kick of his own. We had the Vader salt missed. We had the one final beat. One time Bronson Reed on his knees. Second final beat. 1, 2, 3. Johnny Gargano retains North American title. I want to be totally honest with you, Escobar. I do. And going into this, I want Bronson Reed to win the title. I was like, okay, it's Bronson Reed's time. If not Dexter Loomis, then Bronson Reed. But last minute, I was like, Johnny Gargano retained, and I'm actually glad he did. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Not good here. Uh-oh, not good. This sucks. Uh-oh. Crap, this ain't good. Crap. Uh-oh, kicked him out. This is... Oh. There you go.
I apologize about that. Yes, we got so hyped talking about the event. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. The event got so hyped that the computer crashed.
I apologize, guys, for what just happened. I don't know how Escobar got kicked out, man. But he's back now at least. I don't know how this happened. But
we got too hyped talking about the title match. It's okay.
Yeah. So Escobar's back now. So apologize for that, guys. But anyways, as I was trying to say, Escobar, going into this, I want Dexter Loomis to win the Gauntlet Eliminator and then win the title, right? Okay, and then Dexter Loomis got eliminated. Okay, Bronson Reed to plan B. Then it was like, all right, you know what? Bronson Reed, it's his time. I want him to win this title here. Then at the last minute, and I was like, okay, Bronson Reed should win. Bronson Reed should win the title here. Bronson Reed should win the North American title here. Then at the very last minute, I was like, then Johnny retained, and it's like Johnny retained, and you know what? I'm glad he did. I'm honestly glad he retained.
Me too.
Honestly, I think it was the right move at the end of the day. I don't know what your thoughts on that.
In my personal opinion, I've always been a huge fan of Johnny Gargano, but it's like I said, like I really thought that Dexter Loomis was going to win the Gauntlet match. But when I found out that it went to Bronson Reed, I'm like, okay, well, it looks like Johnny Gargano is going to retain, which I don't mind because Johnny Gargano always puts on and showcases great work. So I honestly see Johnny Gargano possibly holding on to the next Takeover event in June. And I feel like either in June or in August, pretty much before the fall, I honestly see Johnny Gargano possibly falling into the NXT title reign again.
I would have to agree with you, Escobar. I think Johnny retaining it was the right move. Perhaps we got Loomis and Gargano at the June and takeover in June, and then maybe that's where Loomis wins the championship. I mean, Bronson Reed,
That's what I think is going to happen.
he'll be a champ in NXT. It's just there's a thing called patience. Don't like I'm a patient guy, but sometimes I could be impatient. But don't rush with Bronson Reed. Be patient with him. He'll be a champ in NXT. Mark my words. He will. He will.
Oh,
it
yeah.
may not be now, but he will eventually. And you know NXT
agree.
is very high on him, and Triple H is very high on Bronson Reed. So I trust Triple H and Shawn Michaels with Bronson Reed. I really do. And Gargano, I don't know what you think of the skilled Johnny Gargano in the way shit. I know Cameron has his disdain for the way, but I don't know what your thoughts are on the way.
I think it's pretty unique, but
shout out to you, Cameron.
Yeah, shout out to Cameron, my amazing co-host for the CNE podcast. But I think the way is very interesting. They have their moments. I see where Cameron has his points, but I feel like Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae, they have great experience. I mean, heck, they've even wrestled each other. I mean, she's even Candice LeRae's even broke Johnny Gargano's jaw. But I feel like,
I think
honestly,
it was Pro Wrestling Gorilla, and Candice was all bloody, a crimson mask.
Yep. But it's unique. But you know what? I still think that, like, no matter what situation, you can just tell that the Garganos are just happy in NXT.
They are. There's no denying that. And also thinking about this the whole night tonight, Candice and Indy lost to Shotzi and Ember, correct? So if Candice and Indy lost, and then if Johnny would have lost, that would have made the way look like losers. You can't have that.
Exactly. It's kind of like at Wrestle Kingdom when Will Ospreay's faction, the Empire, lost. And it also made more sense for that to happen as well. That's why I was like, because when I saw that they lost, okay, it's definitely.
Yeah. And Johnny Gargano is good at what he does. And it's like, yeah. And Johnny Gargano's so good at what he does too. And it's like, and I've said this before, and I said it even on my WrestleMania 37 Night 2 preview predictions video with Joseph Collins, Big Fight Field channel. Shout out to Joe.
Yes.
I said this on this video, and I recorded that video as well. We were talking about the Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan match for WrestleMania 37 Night number 2 and all. That match. Joe and I talking about that match. Just like Roman Reigns, Gargano is good at what he does. Same thing with Roman right now. When you have someone that is good holding a championship, you don't take the title off them. When you find someone else that is close enough to that good champion, if not better, then that's when you take the title off said champion.
I agree.
That's why I think Roman should not lose it. That's why I think with Roman, he should hold the title all year, at least till SummerSlam. In fact, Roman should hold the title for the whole year of 2021, then drop it at WrestleMania 38 to either Big E or Cesaro, in my opinion. But Johnny Gargano, same thing. When you have someone that's that good, there's no reason to take the title off them.
I agree. And like
when you
on
have
top
someone
of that
like
too,
Dexter
is
Loomis
like
who's closer enough to Johnny, then that's when you take the strap off Johnny Gargano.
I believe in the long-term booking. That's one thing I realize they do sometimes. NXT is better to do long-term booking, whereas compared to the main roster, where you see like stuff goes complacent and then it works, and then it's like, okay. But it's like we said numerous times before in this episode, it's a matter of execution, and execution is important.
Exactly. And so a good match with Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano. Bronson Reed was brought to his best match. I don't know how the hell you have a bad match with Johnny Gargano. It's just damn near impossible. But a good match with Gargano and Reed nonetheless.
It's like it's sacrilegious.
Yeah, and Johnny Gargano, he's Johnny Takeover for a reason. You're not gonna have a takeover without Johnny Gargano.
Got that right.
You're not that, And then the next match on night 2, Karrion Kross and Finn Balor with the NXT title on the line. This didn't actually main event the show, which I was shocked by. I thought this would.
Yes. I really thought that was going to main event because in the unsanctioned promo packages, they're like, this is the co-main event. I'm like, okay, this is second to last. But then they're like, nope, this is the next match. I'm like, oh. Okay.
I felt like this match should have main evented the show, to be honest, because the World Championship match should main event the show, and DJ Storm said that. Shout out to DJ Storms from the his YouTube channel with the lightning flash update, and I'll shout out to DJ Storms.
I see your point on that, but I feel like they only had the unsanctioned match main event because you have to remember Triple H
Do you
also
think
grew up watching the NWA back
also
then.
O'Reilly and Cole them to get the main event is the reason why maybe it's because Adam Cole's getting called up because he lost to Kyle O'Reilly. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but
That's a possibility, but you also have to remember
is
too,
that
with
why
it
they
being
did
an
that?
I think so. Because I know Vince McMahon is very high on Adam Cole, but I feel like they only have
Vince
also
McMahon
have the
high on Adam
unsanctioned match.
Cole, huh?
I think he is. Yeah, believe it or not, he actually is.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
But another reason too, before we get into the co-main event, is that you have to remember too with the unsanctioned match back then in WCW and the National Wrestling Alliance, um, is all AEW does it too. When they have an unsanctioned match, it's supposed to be like the quote unquote like the last thing, and the lights are supposed to go out because they're not supposed to acknowledge it. Hence why, if you notice, the referee didn't even have a ref shirt on. So, if technicality, if you think about it, in terms of kayfabe, because I still believe in kayfabe, damn it, the
But
NXT
it's
title
like
match
Balor and
still
Cross
technically
did a
main
main
evented.
event, which I was shocked by.
I was shocked by it too, but I feel like that didn't hurt. I feel like it didn't hurt them in my opinion because I feel like they both delivered a good match. And honestly, with the passing of the torch for the championship, I feel like it's wonderful in my opinion.
Yeah, now with Balor and
Especially that
Cross,
part when I thought that the match was going to end. I thought the match was going to end with a referee stoppage. If I'm honest with you,
yeah, there was like Balor and Cross. We had
because that was crazy.
this match was pretty good here. Balor in there with Cross. We had Cross trying to spear, but Balor moved out of the way. Carrying Cross's entrance was epic, by the way. It's WrestleMania-esque. It's like
Yes.
WrestleMania-esque. You put that in front of live fans, it would get over. With Scarlett and Karrion Kross in, you know Vince has a hard-on for Karrion Kross and Scarlett. No, sooner.
Were you surprised that there wasn't the
sooner
demon
rather
for
than later,
Finn
he's gonna
Balor?
get called up to Monday Night Raw. Karrion Kross and Scarlett.
Were you surprised that we did not get the demon entrance for Finn Balor?
You know, when he had like the almost like demon-like music with Balor's entrance tonight, I thought he would. Then he comes out as regular Finn. I was like, you know what? If Demon King Balor comes out, he should be Cross. If not, then Cross should beat him.
That's how I felt too. But I
In
felt
my
like if
honest
they were
opinion,
like the last match, then yeah.
maybe we get this match again at the next Takeover, and then the Demon King comes out.
Maybe. But I felt like both. It was a really good match.
We had Cross doing some Saito suplexes. We had one spot where Cross was about to go for his back bullhammer to the back of the head. Balor with a out of nowhere Pele kick, which looked brutal. The two, not a sling blade, but the two hesitation drop kicks, coup de grace to Cross, and 1-2 kick out, Cross with the cross jacket, and Balor
that
rolls
was
through.
So
double foot stomp, not the coup de grace, but you know.
That was so hype when they did that transition to the submission.
Yeah, and then Balor doing his own submission that he did to Kyle O'Reilly at Takeover 31 and all, and et cetera, et cetera. We had Balor do that. We then had Cross deadlift German suplexing Finn Balor. We had before that Cross doing a bunch of elbows. Balor is on his stomach on the mat. Was Finn Balor. Karrion Kross was just right to the head of Balor from Cross just repeatedly, and I thought it was going to be a ref stoppage like you just said. That looked nasty. Like
Me
just
too.
Repeated shots to the back of the head of Balor from Karrion Kross. Cross just viciously doing it.
It reminded me of like King from Tekken. It reminded me like because there's like a moveset you do when you're playing as King or Armor King from the Tekken series. When you get them getting in a sleeper hold, you start beating them, and it takes a lot of damage. I really, like I said, I thought that was going to be a referee stoppage. I'm like, okay. I'm like, let's go. I'll take it. But
yeah. And then we had Cross
deadlifting
German suplexing Balor. We had Cross hit another Saito suplex. Balor stumbles to the ropes. Cross hits the running elbow to the back of Balor's head. Balor stumbles to his feet. Cross hits another running elbow to the back of Balor's head. Cross crosses Balor's eyes. Balor was just out cold, and Cross pins Balor. And Karrion Kross wins the NXT title back that he never lost. So Karrion Kross is now the new NXT champion. And I watched this, and I DM'd you earlier on Twitter right after that result was like, wow.
I got it.
Wow. And I even said on Twitter, I would be shocked. I would be absolutely floored if Karrion Kross won that championship back tonight. Because you look at Karrion Kross and Scarlett, they're ready for Monday Night Raw.
They are.
And I thought Balor would retain, then Kross and Scarlett show up on the Raw after WrestleMania, but apparently that's not going to happen. I still expect Kross and Scarlett to come to Monday Night Raw this year. Don't get me wrong. By the end of the year, don't get me wrong. But Finn Balor, good NXT title reign, but Kross wins here. Where do you think Balor goes from here, to be honest? And where do you think Kross goes from here? Who do you think is Kross's first challenger for the NXT title post Takeover Stand and Deliver? And who do you think should take the title off Karrion Kross? You watched night one with Walter and Tommaso Ciampa, right? I have the perfect guy to take the title off Karrion Kross, and hear me out. Takeover, SummerSlam weekend, this August in the summer. Walter, Karrion Kross, with the NXT title on the line, as well as the NXT UK title. Walter beats Karrion Kross, and Walter is the NXT champion and the NXT UK champion. And then after that, Karrion Kross and Scarlett both get called up on the Raw after SummerSlam. Your thoughts on that?
I feel that'd be a great possibility to happen, but I feel like they should say.
And Walter and Kross is like two bulls going at it, and Walter beating Kross, I think, is very believable. Kyle O'Reilly and Karrion Kross. O'Reilly, I like him, and same thing with Kross, but O'Reilly's not believable against Karrion Kross, and he's not believable to beat Karrion Kross.
I think he's the next challenger, either him or Finn Balor in a rematch. But I think Kyle O'Reilly will be the next challenger for Karrion Kross for the NXT title.
I mean, I don't know if it may be a decent match or good match, but he's not believable to beat Karrion Kross. I'll tell you that.
I don't think they're gonna let Karrion Kross drop the title in his first title defense. This isn't like when they had Sasha Banks have like the numerous titles.
That's not believable either because Cole beating Kross is not believable.
No, like I see the Walter idea, but I feel like they might hold on to Karrion Kross until either after Survivor Series or leading up to the Royal Rumble. I do see Karrion Kross making an appearance in next year's Royal Rumble, though.
Oh, for sure. Would not be surprised on that whatsoever. But
neither will
I. Finn Balor, Karrion Kross, very good match here, and Balor was very believable in this thing, and I thought Balor almost beat Kross, and this looked believable. So for the trolls who say, "Oh, Finn Balor's a vanilla midget," or he's not believable against bigger men, go watch Finn Balor and Brock Lesnar from the 2019 Royal Rumble. And
that's what I was going to say. That match was good.
Yeah, go watch that match and go watch Balor and Kross from tonight. You mean to tell me Balor's not believable You mean to tell me that Balor's not believable against bigger men?
I'll tell you what.
Balor is absolutely believable against bigger men his size.
I'll tell you what. Watch New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Guys like Brock Lesnar, even Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross. Balor is believable against bigger men. Balor's believable.
Go back and watch his matches that he's done with like all the other heavyweights that were bigger than him. I mean, for crying out loud, in his last year, he literally put on extra weight so he can compete in the heavyweight division. So do your research, people. Do your research.
Yeah, and it's like even watch Finn Balor and Braun Strowman on an episode of Raw from like May 2018, an episode of Raw, which was that was the same Raw episode where Lashley and Sami Zayn were the Three Sisters segment, which I don't want to remind you of. That same Raw in the main event.
No, you shouldn't have even brought that up.
Yeah, that was terrible. That Lashley Sami Three Sisters segment, that was god awful. But there was like an episode of Raw back in May of 2018, main event on Raw. Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, and Balor brought Strowman to his best match. That was before Strowman was a one-trick pony.
Oh, you also want to talk about another match with Finn Balor? New Era, August 2016. Finn Balor versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that too. You mean to tell me Finn Balor's not believable? You fucking clowns. Like Escobar said,
do your research. Like that's all you got. Google's free, everybody. Like use the internet. I mean, exactly. Internet is more for memes.
Yeah, but Where do you think Balor honestly goes from here? He did good with the NXT title, but where do you think the man goes from here? Do you want to see him back on the main roster? Because I don't.
Honestly, he's better in NXT. He's even said himself, the NXT is like Broadway, and like
It is.
and as someone that dabbles in the fine arts myself, when it comes to doing stuff like Broadway, performing stuff in the Broadway scene, you give your best, and you pay attention to how the crowd feels and loves you. And honestly, Finn Balor has better chemistry in NXT than he does in the main roster. Not saying he's not good enough. I don't want people saying, "Oh, Escobar, you think Finn Balor's not good enough to be on Raw or SmackDown?" He is good enough to be on Raw or SmackDown. Only if Paul Heyman or Triple H are the directors of each show. But are they the directors? No, they're not. You have people like Bruce Pritchard, who believe that sucking up the Vince and thinking of breaking up the Hurt Business is a good idea, just so you can have great stuff for Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania.
Like, come on. And Bruce is nothing but Vince's yes man, who just yeses Vince to death.
Because he loves him.
Yeah, not just Bruce Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, People Power, John Laurinaitis.
John Laurinaitis, Korea and Japan.
Or CM Punk ripped him a new one, which I'm glad when CM Punk always rips him a new one. Glad he does it.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you what.
You know CM Punk actually hates him. CM Punk, you know.
Oh yeah.
He actually really don't like John Laurinaitis as CM Punk. He do not like Laurinaitis.
He doesn't. I'll tell you what though. What was freaking good was that unsanctioned match.
But yeah, Balor and but do you think after tonight, do you think we get Balor and Walter for the NXT UK title, NXT UK?
I don't think for the NXT UK title, but I definitely see Finn Balor either trying to get his title back or rekindling his feud with Johnny Gargano for the North American title.
That'd be nice, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens.
It's going to be great, though. Regardless of what happens, I still have faith in Triple H and Shawn Michaels for NXT.
And now with NXT moving to Tuesdays, I'm excited, like I said.
I'm very excited.
Before I believe we started recording the video here, but yeah. But then the main event of Night 2 Takeover Stand and Deliver, the unsanctioned match between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. Now, before we talk about this match and all, both men came out to new entrance music, generic entrance music, and I don't know why. And they got rid of Adam Cole's Shock the System music. All you could have did was get rid of the Shock the System line saying, and then it's like you give them both.
And just go to the da. I see your point.
Yeah, it's just, and then they give them both generic new entrance music. Whoever they got writing WWE entrance music right now is just terrible. CFOs was great. Really? Jim Johnson was, so was CFOs, and CFOs is not even there anymore. I think, wasn't it because of band breakup or they didn't get enough money, but they got Def Rebel now and it's garbage.
They wanted more money because of how much they were producing and a lot of the streaming they were doing, and WWE was like, hey, you guys aren't that good, and then left. Think about it, because CFO did music like Rebel Heart, the theme song for AJ Styles, the theme song for Aleister Black. You also got like a good portion of the NXT theme, the Keith Lee theme song.
Keith Lee, yeah, bask in his glory. Braun Strowman is CFOs. Shayna Baszler. Buddy Murphy was CFOs. Mustafa Ali when he was a babyface. Who else was?
Cedric Alexander's theme song.
Cedric Alexander's before he was a heel. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Paige, Becky Lynch, Bayley when she was a babyface, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair CFOs, Dean Ambrose before he left, he was CFOs, Seth Rollins,
Alexa Bliss,
yeah. Plus CFOs, Rhea Ripley,
a good portion of it,
Neville, Apollo Crews, all these guys, CFO Sanity, those guys, Gallows and Anderson, all these guys had CFOs music, and it was like CFOs was just great. Def Rebel's just absolute garbage. Only good from Def Rebel is Karrion Kross and Biggie, and it's not even Def Rebel's music. It's Scarlett's and it's Wale's.
Yeah. Like, I'll admit, like, Johnny Gargano seems okay, but Rebel Heart will always be the go-to for his thing in WWE.
Even Mandy Rose CFOs, that was a perfect theme song for Mandy Rose, and they changed that. Even Nikki Cross.
Yeah, because they had a saxophone solo, and I remember that.
With Mandy. And that thing.
And they had that saxophone?
Yeah, that was perfect for Mandy Rose, and they just got rid of it. It was stupid. Nikki Cross's CFO's music. They got rid of Nikki Cross's perfect CFO's music, and they got rid of it. Now Nikki Cross feels like everyone else on Monday Night Raw. It's sad. It's really sad. Lacey Evans is CFOs, and yet there's trolls on social media, clowns, geeks on social media saying, "Oh, but the reason for the new theme music changing as of late, man, is because it's a CFO's lawsuit, and it's all CFO's lawsuit at the end of the day, man. It's not a CFO's thing. If it was a CFO's lawsuit, AJ Styles wouldn't have CFOs, Shayna Baszler wouldn't have CFOs, music.
The music wouldn't still be on
Matt
iTunes or
Riddle,
Spotify like it is
Matt
right
Riddle,
now.
Matt Riddle and Sheamus, they have CFOs music. So it's not a
I mean, it's still on Spotify, iTunes, and everywhere else on YouTube. So,
yeah,
like, trust me, I feel like a CFO wanted it to be taken down, they would have it taken down.
Exactly. And it's like some trolls on social media saying, "Oh, but with the music change last late in WWE, man, you got to change, adapt, and evolve all the time, man. It can't be the same old boring shit all the time, man. Esteban,
I'm sorry.
there is a saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Look at what they did to Keith Lee's music. They changed his absolute perfect theme song.
I mean, this is just my personal opinion because I dabble in music as well.
They changed his music. I hated that.
I'll say this, then we can get back to the unsanctioned match because, like, I've a dabble in music myself. Like, I play saxophone, I play piano, I've played a lot of other instruments as well throughout my life, and I agree. If it's not broke, don't fix it. I feel like one of the best albums of all time is WWE Reckless Intent from 2006. You
Yes.
had Burning My Light, Randy Orton, Saliva's I Walk Alone for Batista, Motorhead's King of Kings for Triple H, Killswitch Engage This Fire for CM Punk, and
Rey Mysterio
a lot of great music.
With Booyaka Booyaka.
Booyaka from POD.
Booyaka theme, Big Show's Crank It Up, Deadly Games, the theme song from No Way Out 2006, SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view, etc.
Maria's theme song.
Maria Kanellis, MVP with I'm Coming.
Jonathan Coachman's theme song too was on there too. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I still have that on CD. I just need to find it somewhere. But like, that's another story for a different day. But like, it's not broke. Don't fix it. And
don't change something just for the sake of changing it. Don't. It's like, don't change something just for the sake of changing it. Don't, like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And it's like, it's like, look at Shinsuke Nakamura when they changed his music to a remix thing before he brought back his old CFO's music at the beginning of the year. And I'm glad he brought that old CFO's music back.
They only did it so because with him being a heel, they didn't want nobody to sing his theme song. But if you were to pay attention to the chorus, you could still sing it. Like,
exactly. Don't change something if it doesn't need to be changed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but back to this match here. Unsanctioned match, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. These two have battled before in Ring of Honor at Final Battle, I believe in December 2016. I have heard of that match and how good that match was.
It was a good match. I watched it.
This match was very good. Do you think this match here was better than the Ring of Honor match and their matches in the
past? In my personal opinion, this is just me. I prefer the Ring of Honor matches and a lot of other stuff. And the only reason why, and I know it's going to sound petty, and I'm not trying to be, there was a crowd there, and like a full crowd there, and there was also a lot of.
I mean, there was a lot of like. But you need full capacity of fans.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that kind of lacked it a little bit. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the match was good. Don't get me wrong. But
absolutely.
If you had that full capacity, you had that energy.
It was two men legit trying to kill each other.
Literally, like, the story was good. Like, Kyle O'Reilly got hit with a freaking TV. That was crazy.
And I was shocked O'Reilly wasn't busted open after that.
Me too.
Going to this match, it was like, I want to see blood in this thing, but they beat
I doubt it.
Crap out of each other. They had the chain stuff, which was great. A toolbox.
The spots with the chairs.
Yeah, chairs as well.
The spot where they went through the stage. I thought of Taz and Bam Bigelow.
Guillotine choke and Cole. That both men went through the stage. I'm like, absolutely fucking floored, dude.
When they got revenge and they did the brain buster on the steel steps.
One of the things next to the ramp. Cole just super kicking the crap out of it.
Yeah, the
O'Reilly
panel.
looked-
He was kicking
O'Reilly
the
looked
panel.
just down. O'Reilly just like he could barely move or just pick himself up, barely stand.
Yeah, it was definitely. I know a lot of people kind of complained that it was a little too long, which I kind of see their point because looking
Yeah,
at
it
the
was a
stats,
little
the
too
match
long. The match was good, but I would
the,
have to. But I do know where they're coming from, though.
the match was 40
Yeah.
minutes, and I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, like I could not saying it was it. I'll admit it was a little too long. Like, but you know what? I felt like they did the best of what they could. I just kind of wish they kind of put a good portion of that time, not a full 40 minutes, but most of that into the Io Shirai and Raquel Gonzalez match. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. We also had one spot where Adam called it the last shot, where O'Reilly's sitting on a stack of chairs, and last shot to O'Reilly with the chair stuff in the corner. So Kyle O'Reilly. We even
I
had Kyle
swear.
O'Reilly trying to do last shot. Adam Cole's own move onto Adam Cole, and Cole kicks out of his own move. O'Reilly
That's what
puts down the knee brace in the last shot to Cole. Cole kicks out. I thought it was it right
I
there.
like.
Talking about
I like the
insult to
part where he
injury.
wrapped the chain. I like the part where he wrapped the chain around his knee and then he tried to attack him and then he turned it into the figure four leg lock. That was also a good one.
Yeah, there was like
Um,
also one spot where you know how weeks ago Adam Cole brain busted Kyle O'Reilly on the steps. Weeks ago, and O'Reilly was
yes.
selling the shit out of it. They did that again with Cole doing it to
Mhm.
O'Reilly, and you see the bent in the toolbox on the outside.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that till you mentioned that.
And
Because I remember
O'Reilly
looking at
could
that, I'm like,
barely
ooh,
move or stand or pick up his own 2 feet or stand up by his own 2 feet. Was Kyle O'Reilly.
it was wonderful.
It was two men
It was
legit trying to
definitely,
kill each other.
man, it really
Legit two
was.
men trying
I
to
want
kill
to.
each other. There was like one spot Cole was doing some wrench thing with O'Reilly, but O'Reilly was blocking it and all.
I will say this though, like after reviewing this show, talking about
And
it,
then
this makes me glad to enjoy how wonderful this show is. I'm not gonna lie, WrestleMania is gonna. You're gonna have to
and
impress me real
then
good, WrestleMania.
before we talk about that though, real shortly, we had O'Reilly doing an Oshi Garoshi. I think Cole tried a Panama Sunrise. O'Reilly catches him with an
Hmm.
Oshi Garoshi. Nice move that AJ Styles does. Oshi Garoshi, AJ Styles
Yes,
signature move. Oshi Garoshi. Love that move. We
it's
had
also a beast in the 2K games.
we had Cole hitting O'Reilly with a chair. We had then we had the ending of this match. O'Reilly was like, I think Cole and Cole knocked out the referee too with a black shirt.
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
think Cole hit his finishers and all, Panama Sunrise and super kick last shot. Adam Cole hit that on O'Reilly. The ref was down. And the fans counting
He
1,
was like,
2,
he was like,
3, 4.
he goes, "Wake up, you stupid ref!" I thought that was
And
funny. He was
Adam
like
Cole was just
slapping
going
him.
batshit crazy. It's like Adam Cole was just absolutely remorseless in this whole thing.
He was. It was crazy.
Just taking out everyone. Cole didn't care at all whatsoever. Then we had O'Reilly positioned not like reverse, not on the top, but like the second rope. Like how you see in WWE
Hmm.
games, like you or put your opponent in a position where not in a superplex position, but like a back superplex position. And O'Reilly and
Yes.
Cole is shouting at O'Reilly, I made you. You hear me, O'Reilly? You listen to me. Without me, you're nothing, Kyle.
Then the low
And
blow.
Cole getting right in O'Reilly's face. And yeah, even before this, Cole with a low blow, and Cole was smiling. Then when towards the end of this thing, Cole was shouting at O'Reilly. O'Reilly returning the favor with a low blow. Talking about getting a taste of someone's own medicine.
That was a great. That was a great way to end their
And
rivalry,
then
in my opinion.
O'Reilly wrapped the chain around his knee. And then there was a chair set up in the ring, right? Cole's in the chair's here, and Cole's here, right? His body. O'Reilly with the chain wrapped around his knee. And O'Reilly hits a King Kong knee drop that obliterates Cole and destroys the chair. And the impact was like, oh my fucking god! And after the impact, you see Cole's body doing like just shaking.
The seizures. Oh my god.
Seizures. That looked fucking nasty, dude. It really, really did.
It.
And O'Reilly
I
pinned
cringed
Cole
looking
after,
at that.
and O'Reilly pins Cole after that. This was brutal, brutal, brutal stuff. Too
I
long.
remember you literally DM'd me saying, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, too long of a match, yes, but the match was still good nonetheless. And I predicted O'Reilly to win, and I'm glad he did. This was probably a star-making performance for Kyle O'Reilly, probably in my opinion personally. And I thought Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong would interfere, but they did not.
Me
Apparently
too.
they didn't. I thought they would actually help Adam Cole win this thing, but they didn't.
I thought it was going to be like Roderick Strong helps Adam Cole, but Bobby Fish helps Kyle O'Reilly.
Exactly. Yeah, and then after this match, after Kyle O'Reilly beat Adam Cole in a very, very brutal, good match, referees and medical personnel were checking on Adam Cole. Cole was loaded on a stretcher after O'Reilly was watching. And O'Reilly a bruise on the back of his shoulders and on his back. You could see it. And O'Reilly stands tall, and Takeover Night 2 goes off the air. O'Reilly goes over. O'Reilly beats Adam Cole. Very good stuff with both men. What are your thoughts on this entire Takeover as a whole, both nights? And do you think this is where they're going forward, or do you think this is one time, once a year, or this is just a one-time deal? And your thoughts on the whole show as a whole? And do you think WrestleMania? And do you think it should be good luck to WrestleMania?
Well, first things first, good luck to WrestleMania. Good luck to night 1 of WrestleMania. Night 2 WrestleMania seems pretty good in my personal opinion, but NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver parts 1 and part 2 definitely wonderful. I don't think it's going to be a 2-part series. I felt they only did it because one, it was the last NXT on Wednesday, so that way you can stop the issues with Dynamite. But I felt like with WrestleMania having a 2-night event, they did the same thing with NXT. And I feel like it also shows too that like if you're very disappointed or dissatisfied with the Raw or SmackDown brand, you have NXT to go to. And I can definitely say that both shows definitely delivered. It's kind of hard to pick which one I like the most.
I think it was needed though for a 2-night takeover.
This is gonna be I'm gonna be the minority here. I'm gonna say yes, only because, and the reason why is because WWE likes to go all out with their WrestleMania week, and I feel like Triple H kind of was like, you know what? If my father-in-law can do it, I feel like I can do it with NXT as well. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the way they had the build-ups and the way they had all the match structures, it delivered. Like literally, pun intended. It was wonderful.
I mean, the
And
build may have not been the best, not terrible, but not the best. It was like decent build, but Takeover both nights definitely stood and delivered, if you ask me. And
yes,
the final Wednesday Night Wars, thank God, and NXT won the Wednesday Night Wars with this week. So congratulations to NXT. No more Wednesday Night Wars. So if you're those people that it's hard to watch both Dynamite and NXT on the same night as Wednesdays, that's difficult for you. Luckily for you, NXT's on Tuesdays, Dynamite's on Wednesdays. So if you want to watch both now, you can. It's hard, and I've tried to watch both, and I did before till this week. It's hard. It was hard to watch both. It was.
I agree. It's hard for me to balance sometimes, if I'm honest with you. But and it's hard for us too, considering how we have to like talk about what it's like going on for the shows and doing reviews and stuff like that. So trust me, I know what it's like.
And of course, though, you still get trolls on social media. Oh, this show was better. This show wasn't. It's like, come on, enough with that already. It's like, enjoy what you want. Though Monday Night Raw is the worst show on television. I'll tell you that.
That's a given. That's a given. But all else fails, I feel like NXT Stand and Deliver is definitely a huge caliber for show of the year towards the end of the year.
Do you think this is in the top 3 best takeovers ever? Next to Takeover New York and Takeover New Orleans.
Yes. I definitely agree.
Do you think this is better than
I'll put it in my
Vengeance
top 5.
Day? Because that was a very good takeover since Portland. Because you look at the 2020 takeovers, Portland was good, but the rest were decent, but it wasn't close to like NXT standards like Takeover.
Portland's my favorite NXT takeover, also for sentimental value. Yeah, and plus on top of that too, Portland's also sentimental to me because Cameron and I watched that together. That was when we first watched our NXT event together. I'll say it's not. It was good for what we have right now with this pandemic, but in regards of everything in general, Portland is still the best one in my personal opinion.
I would absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. And with Takeover Stand and Deliver both nights standing and delivering, I know I'm not the only one who's very excited for NXT on Tuesdays. I'm glad they're moving to Tuesdays, and you can thank NBC Universal and the NHL for that. And Triple H even said NXT being a lead-in from Raw. And I know there were rumors and reports saying that Triple H said that saying that NXT was bullied off Wednesdays to AEW. Then Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful Select Wrestling, and then Dave Meltzer reporting that bullying line was not said at all, and they confirmed it. So the bullying line was never said.
Yeah, that was just annoying.
I don't know who
But
said they were bullied off, and it turned out that the bullying line report said was just it was all bullshit.
I don't believe a lot of things that are said by famous reporters only because I feel like sometimes they just like to lie. I just believe in like you go with what your heart tells you. Like me, I feel like NXT on Tuesday nights will definitely be great because you know what? It makes me recover mentally from Monday Night Raw. So it's okay.
And not only that, it's the best thing for Dynamite, it's the best thing for NXT, and now NXT can grow, and so can Dynamite. And I'm telling you right now with Dynamite having no competition now on Wednesdays, expect Dynamite to beat Raw in the ratings eventually this year. Guarantee it.
Oh, damn.
Oh, but they won't.
I
Oh, but
definitely.
Dynamite won't beat Raw in their ratings, man. Raw's not afraid of AEW. Clowns. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
they they
And
really are.
when Dynamite beats Raw in the ratings sometime this year, you know Vince is going to be very unhappy, and you know Vince is going to fire someone because you know Bruce Pritchard's not safe.
You got that right.
Bruce ain't safe, but NXT on Tuesdays. All in all, I've been saying this for weeks. It's like NXT needs to move to Tuesdays. It needs to be on Tuesdays. If they were on Tuesdays, I guarantee you, people would watch, and it would grow, and the brand would grow as a whole, and NXT would be much better off for it. Like 2020 was not kind of all to NXT. It wasn't because of main roster influence garbage, and then 2021 started. NXT just getting better and better, much better than they were in 2020. I'll tell you that much. And ever
Oh
since the
yeah.
start of this year, NXT was getting a lot better. But then it's like they're not growing because they on Wednesdays get them on Tuesdays. You get them on Tuesdays, then they'll grow. And now with them on Tuesday, starting this Tuesday, April 13th, they are definitely growing. Believe me, mark my words. They will grow. And if you don't think that, you need to open your eyes. So,
You took the words out of my mouth.
I mean, so I'm honestly Takeover both nights very very good. I'm very excited for the future for NXT now on Tuesdays, and I'm pumped. I'm really pumped. I'm excited for Tuesday NXT after WrestleMania. I'm very excited. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I'm excited either way. And good Takeover as well for both nights. Any last words, Escobar, before we get the hell out of here?
Alrighty. I know we need to hurry up because right now it's almost 1:30 on the East Coast and I got work. I just like to say, Nick, thank you again for having me on your show. Um, Once again, like it's always a pleasure working with you. I love having you on my podcast with Cameron, the CNE podcast. I will say this to promote my work. My name is Escobar Morales. You can follow me on Twitter at Esco Morality. Me and my good friend Cameron Johnson, we have a podcast called the CNE Podcast, and we started the podcast actually beginning of 2020, back when we were in college at the time before everything left before the pandemic. And we've been rolling on very strong. We've done interviews with ECW World Heavyweight Champion Justin Credible. We have worked with people like DJ Storms, Joseph Conlon, Brother Monty. Also, we've worked with Nick as well. And we are planning on growing our show to be very great. Once again, it's like I said before numerous times, make sure you check out people like Nick. Check out DJ Storms, Brother Monty, check out all of us because, like I said, with WrestleMania week happening, this is a great chance for the journalists like ourselves to like produce our new content and produce like our biggest work. So always give support to the local people. And I can honestly say, I hope I can be back on this show again for other stuff too. And you're definitely going to be on the show once again on the CNE podcast for other great stuff planned ahead.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. It was very, very great to have you on the show. Your first time here in the show. I thought it was really
Thank
great,
you.
and I think we talked some good shit about pro wrestling, and I think we both have good minds for the business. To be honest with you, Escobar, I truly
We
believe that.
really do.
And would definitely love to have you on the show again sooner or later. I thought it was great here. Would not mind that again at all. And I know I'll be on your show and Cameron's show sometime later on down the line, sooner or later. Been on there before.
Yeah, definitely. Because we believe in cross promoting.
Absolutely. Unlike Vince McMahon there.
Oh yeah, we
cross-promoting,
cross
that's
promote.
not good shit.
No. We cross promote here in the IWC.
Now, cross promoting. Now that's good shit.
There you go.
And of course, also Escobar talking about like follow him on Twitter and all. From Escobar saying that. Also, follow me on Twitter at FioriNick579. Follow me on Instagram at NicholasFiori2014 and Facebook page Nicholas.Fiori.31. Add me as a friend on Facebook if you like. The options always there for you guys. And be sure you guys hit that like button on this video if you've not done so already. I have about 38, 39 current YouTube subscribers. I would love to hit 50 subscribers at least by the end of this year of 2021. So hit the like button and the subscribe. So hit the like button if you've not done so already. Subscribe to the Fiore
It
Station
also helps out with
channel.
the algorithm as well too.
Yes, absolutely. So if you haven't hit the like button on the video, and if you've not subscribed to the Fiore Station YouTube channel, what the hell are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the bell for all notifications so you get notified. Not some notifications, guys. Hit the bell for all, yes, all notifications so you get notified whenever I'm uploading videos from the channel onto YouTube. So subscribe to the Fiore Station YouTube channel. It would be greatly appreciated. Hit the bell for all notifications. Hit the like button as well. It would be greatly appreciated, guys, for the analytics and et cetera, et cetera. It'd be greatly appreciated. Hit the like button. It would be greatly appreciated, you guys. And that is that, folks. And that is a wrap, folks. Thank you guys so much for joining Escobar and myself for the review for NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver, the review video for that of Takeover Stand and Deliver nights 1 and night 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and thank you guys so much for joining us. Hope you guys had a very good time with the video. Hope you guys had some laughs and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hope you guys enjoyed what we said on the video and all. Hope you guys enjoyed the video as a whole. And thank you guys so much for joining us right here for the video right here. And I will see you next. And sure, Escobar will be on the channel again sooner or later. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah. Because we cross promote.
Absolutely. Now that's good shit, pal.
Good shit.
Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'll see you next time for more good content right here on the Fiore Station YouTube channel, right here on youtube.com. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I'll talk to you guys later.